today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports Twitter encouraged all of its users to change their passwords on Thursday after discovering a bug that caused passwords to be stored without proper encryption. The social media platform discovered a bug that caused user passwords to be stored in an internal log without going through a process known as hashing, in which password characters are replaced with a random set of numbers and letters. Twitter's chief technology officer wrote in a blog post, "Due to a bug, passwords were written to an internal log before completing the hashing process. We found this error ourselves, removed the passwords, and are implementing plans to prevent this bug from happening again." The CTO said the bug had been fixed and an investigation showed there was no indication of breach or misuse by anyone. He still encouraged users to change their passwords out of an abundance of caution, and Twitter pushed a pop-up window to users explaining the bug and including a link to the settings page. Bitcoin Not Bombs is a launching pad for nonprofits and social entrepreneurs into the financial freedom of the Bitcoin economy. Bitcoin Not Bombs offers premium publicity campaigns designed to facilitate an organization's adoption of Bitcoin as a payment system and to fully capitalize on that decision in their fundraising efforts. Bitcoin Not Bombs is fully committed to being the hub of the nonprofit sector of the Bitcoin economy, maximizing the potential cross-promotion of all our clients and commercial partners. To learn more, visit bitcoinnotbombs.com. Reuters reports the Republican-controlled Oklahoma legislature approved an adoption measure on Thursday that critics say discriminates against same-sex couples, non-Christians, and single parents. The bill would allow faith-based adoption agencies, including those that receive public funding, to turn away would-be parents on the basis of their marital status or religion and religious beliefs. Supporters of the bill said the legislation would open the door for more child placement partnerships. The State House of Representatives approved the bill by a vote of 56 to 21 without discussion or debate, despite vocal objections by the Democratic caucus. Earlier in the day, the Senate passed the bill by a vote of 33 to 7. Opponents of the bill could mount a legal challenge. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
Jared Gilchrist was surfing when he was attacked by a shark that took his leg. Thanks for being with us, big guy.
Thanks, this is tight.
What was going through your mind when you first realized that you were there with a shark all alone in open water?
I felt like a total badass. It bit into my leg and started shaking it back and forth, and at that point I just felt, yes, this is sweet.
I can't imagine what it would have been like to see the teeth sinking into your leg like.
It was sick. At one point I just saw my leg just floating there in the water. It was awesome.
Okay, we're joined now via satellite by Dr. Brian Caddy. What condition was Jared's leg in when you first saw him?
It was in pretty rough shape. The shark had scissored through the muscle, and it was all just like hanging off the bone. It was nuts.
Yeah, I kept touching it. It was slimy as hell.
Yeah, totally. It was insane.
Well, doctor, how do you deal with something like this?
Well, you know, you're never fully prepared for an injury this freaking cool. You know, we just tried to stop the blood loss, and we took a bunch of photos because it's hysterical to freak out the nurses with gnarly shit like this.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. Dial toll free to join us here on the radio, and you can take control of those airwaves. Toll free number 855-450 free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We've got Skype as well. Skype username is lrn.fm, or call us on the Discord on-air call-in line chat room over at discord.lrn.fm. Here in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
And Chris.
And Darryl.
And, of course, you can bring up anything you want. That's the point of the show. And we always bring things in that we think you might find interesting. Tonight, we're going to start with Secession. It is back in the news and actually has been, I think, for a week or two here. I've had this story, for at least a week and a half from Calexit. They are once again making headlines because they are going to be running another petition drive. For those that don't recall, Calexit is, I guess, probably the most noteworthy. It seems to be get the most press out there.
Right.
There's different secessionist movements inside California. And Darryl, you're going to tell us about the Three Californias plan.
Yes.
That arguably is more noteworthy because they've actually made their ballot qualification already with the signatures that they've gathered. So we're going to talk about all of that. And if you're out in California, if you've got some opinions you want to share those with us, you're welcome to at 855-450 free like freedom. So for those that don't recall, Calexit was the proposal to have California leave the United States entirely, which I think is the best possible proposal because that's the kind of secession that gets me going, right? Like, I want to see that happen. That is what needs to occur at some point, whether it's California or Texas or New Hampshire, whichever one, Vermont, Hawaii, whichever one of those, goes first.
Right.
Then that will pave the way for whoever goes second, third, fourth, fifth, and so on before we finally see the complete breakup of the United States experiment, which arguably is a failed experiment. The idea being that the U.S. government would be bound by its chains of the Constitution hasn't really worked out very well. Now, has it?
No.
Yeah. So
definitely not.
So Calexit is the idea for the the nation's largest, most populous state, not largest by landmass, I guess, but most populous state to leave the United States, and they've got a strong argument. Like, hey, we'll be fine. Now, maybe they would end up becoming a socialist pit and a total hellhole, but
probably
in theory,
it's almost certain.
In theory, there's enough money there, there's enough, business there that they certainly have enough resources that they could, if they had the freedoms to, make it on their own. Right.
Right. And even I think it's the Yes California website.
Isn't that their website? Yes, California?
Right. I think that's the website for the Calexit
it is.
thing.
I'm confirming that here, yep.
They have something that they call, I think it's a blue paper, where they outline the amount of money that leaves California and goes to the District of Criminals.
It is a donor state, isn't it, California? Even though it's a big socialist state, don't they pay more out to the feds than they receive back? And
I don't know.
I feel like I've seen that. If somebody wants to confirm, you're welcome to.
But even if they're not, there's a bunch of money that leaves California and goes to the District of Criminals. If all of that money just stayed in California instead of going to D.C., then they could wind up, in their theory, they could wind up affording all of the socialist programs that they want because any money that they get from the feds can only be used for the things that the feds say they can use it for, and it comes with all kinds of strings.
Right. Now, of course, eventually they'll run out of money, as all socialists hellholes do, but at least they'd have a fair start if they started with all their money back. So here's the story from Abby Hamlin over at the San Diego Union Tribune. Could the third time be the charm for advocates of California's secession from the United States? Most likely not, but a group called Yes California is giving it another try anyway. Secretary of State Alex Padilla said on Monday that the backers of the secession initiative, commonly known as Calexit, can begin collecting signatures in an attempt to place it on the ballot. Quote, issue after issue, from immigration to agriculture, from taxation to banking, and on a host of other issues. It's clear that California and the United States have irreconcilable differences, and it's time for a divorce. The campaign's website says further, quote, we shall now begin circulating the petition forms for that divorce. In fact, I heard you guys were talking about that Uber case last night on Free Talk Live, right? That a California court ruled that the Uber may have to classify its driver partners, as they call them.
I thought
their contractors as employees.
I thought the ruling was that they did.
There was a federal court ruling, as you cited, Darryl, that actually made it clear.
Federal court said that they, under federal law, are contractors.
Right.
There's a California ruling that the California State Supreme Court came up with that said that Uber might have to classify their people as employees, not contractors. So you've got feds saying one thing, the state saying something else.
They cited a set of more restrictive rules around what a contractor's definition is in California.
The California ruling is based on California law, not federal law.
Right. So there is not a final ruling yet. It's coming, though.
At some point, it will probably be decided by the U.S. Supreme Court.
Okay.
Probably, because that's generally what happens when you have these vastly contradictory rulings.
But I cite that as an example of here's another reason that California is a very different place. They believe that contractors shouldn't be contractors, and they're trying to write the rules around contracting or contract work to be extremely restrictive. I was looking at that story on my own, Darryl, yesterday, and if I recall correctly, the rules around what defines a contractor had to do, and then there were like 3 or 4 different tests.
Right.
And one of them had to do with, is the contractor doing work that is different than the normal work that's done by that company? Meaning that if Uber hires a window repairman to come in and repair the window, well, that's clearly contract work for Uber. But the argument they're going to make is that, well, because we have this rule, drivers are doing what Uber's job is supposed to be, and so therefore it's not contract work. They are employees.
That's interesting to argue that, though, because they're really just connecting people as opposed to
that would be their argument.
Services.
Right, and
we're just a technology company.
Right, or their service is to connect drivers with passengers, not to actually run cabs. Because if it was, they'd own the cab, that they et cetera, the cars and so forth.
Not necessarily, because as we pointed out last night, and we've had cab drivers call in before to say that cab drivers in a lot of places are not employees; they are contractors.
But is that California, or are they more likely to be employees in California?
I don't know. But then there's also the question of what about truck drivers, people that drive product from one place to another.
Yep.
And are they then considered to be employees?
Isn't there a mix as far as that is concerned?
I suspect there is.
I think there's some are contractors and some are not. Some are employees.
Some are owner-operators. Yeah. Some are renting the truck. Some are employees. So
right. So if somebody only has one company that they deliver things for, then yes, chances are they are an employee of that company. But like the owner-operator, they do work for a bunch of different companies, but getting product from point A to point B is essential to the company's purpose of being in business, and under a very flawed reading of or understanding of that court ruling, they could be forced to be employees of everybody that they worked for. And as I pointed out to Chris last night, the other Chris, I said, when you go to a restaurant and you give money to the server for bringing you food, well, delivering food to your table is essential to something, so therefore is that person your employee for the period of time that they're waiting on you and bringing food and drinks to your table?
Most waitresses are employees of the restaurant.
Of the restaurant?
Yeah.
But a flawed reading of the ruling is they would be your employee, Ian, while you are in the restaurant.
There's no signed employee agreement or anything like that. But I see what you're saying.
A flawed reading. A flawed reading of the court ruling.
Well, that's not likely to stand legal muster, but yes, I see what you're saying.
Well, most of the things that stand legal muster today, 100 years ago, everybody would have said, that would never stand.
So it's kind of interesting because you're tipping a waitress. You're not like contractually obligated to
so you are paying part of her wages, which means that she is now your employee.
Right, which is kind of makes it interesting because if you look at it from a different perspective and say, okay, well, she's not your employee. Let's just assume that's the interpretation. Well, what would stop some other business from basically making the same claim, or setting up a business that basically works the same way, where you tip the person as opposed to employing them, so to speak, like with a wage.
We got more coming up here. So California's Calexit getting back on the ballot. We'll tell you more about what's happening there. Your calls and thoughts are welcome on Secession or whatever's on your mind. You can join us on Free Talk Live. Mother's Day sneaks up and we hit the panic button. We get suckered into online flower giants pitching $19.99 flowers that end up costing $60. Or we grab last-minute produce department flowers that smell oddly like green onions. That tells Mom you didn't care enough to send flowers from the Bouqs. That's short for bouquets. And they're bouquing awesome. Bouqs flowers are as unique and special as your mom. They're freshly cut from Bouqs farms and delivered straight to your mom. So they last weeks, not days. Bouqs even has farms located on the side of a volcano that produce flowers so gorgeous, Mom will post pics of them and brag about you. And because Bouqs cut out the middlemen, you'll get amazingly fresh flowers at an amazing price. Show Mom how much you care. Send her artisan design flowers from the Bouqs. Order today and get an extra 15% off when you enter FTL. That's BOUQS.com. And remember to enter FTL to save an extra 15%. Bouqs.com.
The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful, full-featured wallet that allows you to send and receive Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Core with anyone, anywhere in the world. It supports both single and multi-signature wallets and is available in multiple languages. The Bitcoin.com wallet is available on Windows, Linux, Mac, Android, and iOS devices. Learn more at wallet.bitcoin.com.
Zencash is an end-to-end encrypted system with zero-knowledge technology over which communications, data, or value can be securely transmitted and stored. With over 7,500 secure nodes, Zencash has one of the most distributed node systems of any cryptocurrency. Zencash is a platform for cryptocurrency and communications built by voluntarists for voluntarists, with the ideas of voluntary interaction being written into the white paper no less than half a dozen times. Learn more at zencash.com. That's zencash.com. Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that tenth of a calorie it takes to click on something. Facebook.freetalklive.com.
In Survivor Max 2, School Bites, Max must scavenge through a wasteland swarming with the undead. Desperate to find the medicine he needs, he discovers a community of survivors at his former school. Has he finally found the safe haven he's been looking for, or will he discover that school bites? Look for Survivor Max on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, and read Chapter 1 at survivormax.com.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. Dial in, toll free, take control of the airwaves here. Our number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We are talking about secession, and California secession is back in the news, and the various different flavors of options out there for those that want to see California secede include the Calexit plan to leave the United States entirely and break off as its own separate nation, and then other plans like the three Californias, which, as I understand it, would create 3 different states within the United States, and that's a whole other concept. We're going to cover all of that. Your calls and thoughts are certainly welcome. And there's also a pro-secession festival, Liberty Festival, coming up. Forkfest 2018. Why do I say it's pro-secession? Because it seceded from another festival, basically. It forked off of the Porcupine Freedom Festival. And it was created last year, although it was called a few different things last summer.
One of them was Secession Fest.
Was that yours? Was that the one you created?
I created several of them.
Okay.
Secession Fest was one of them, and the requirement was that you had to secede from the festival and create
itself.
your own.
Right.
And then Schism Fest was the one that if you joined, you immediately got kicked out of.
Forkfest 2018 is happening, and there actually been some people joining the Forkfest chat room on Telegram recently.
Yeah,
which is
there's
nice to
a
see.
regular,
a
number of people coming in.
A little stream of people coming in there. I think we're almost at 20 users in the Forkfest Telegram chat. The Telegram chat seems to be attracting more participation than the forum. The forum. It's hard to compare forums to chat rooms, but then I was going to say then our Discord. So there's a Forkfest chat on the Discord. Just because we've got the Discord, we might as well have a Forkfest chat there. and then there's one on Telegram to give 2 different platforms for people. So if you want to connect with other people that are going to ForkFest and maybe organize, as was going on earlier today, there was talk about, well, should we all camp nearby one another? Because Rogers is a pretty large campground.
Oh, yeah.
For people that aren't familiar, Rogers Campground, where it's happening, it's in the White Mountains of New Hampshire. Absolutely splendid, beautiful location. It's the largest campground in New Hampshire. There is no bigger campground than Rogers, and in fact, the property itself is even bigger than the portion that the
Right.
campground occupies. So it's big. There's RV sites, there are sort of tenting camping sites, and then there's even a motel if you prefer that. So some people want to camp right nearby one another, and there's already organization of people, sort of self-organization of people deciding, hey, well, this is where I've got my tent, so if you want to camp near me, then get your spot near there. And people have been calling Rogers to book their sites. In fact, I actually talked with the manager of Rogers today, who says that she's looking to turn on the online ordering system because that's been off up until now. So I guess they might be flipping the switch on that. But even if you're going to do the online ordering, Rogers still needs to talk to you to get payment information because I guess not all of it can be done through the internet, but you can sort of lock your spot temporarily, and then they'll call you or reach out to you directly. So
Excellent.
Go to forkfest.party. You can learn more about the event there. It's June 14th through the 18th, and that is coming up fast, just over a month away at this point. So if you're going to come up and hang out at Rogers Campground with us, we're going to be there. We'll be broadcasting Free Talk Live from the event. There will be other events happening. Darryl, you've got a party that you're throwing after you put on some athletic events.
Yes.
We're going to see a wedding happen on that Sunday, and that's going to take up a good chunk of the day because they've got the wedding, then the reception, and all that. I think late night party as well. So that ought to be fun. And then who knows what else will be created there. It's really up to you. I saw somebody talking about giving a speech. So I don't know if that means that person is planning on bringing a PA system or whatever.
They'll just talk loud.
Yeah, that can happen too. So it's all self-organized. It's decentralized. There's nobody who's in charge of ForkFest. That means there's no ticket price. There's no board of organizers. It also means there's no one you can complain to if there's something that you don't like. So I mean, you can just sort of complain out loud, but there's no authority.
That could be the speechification.
There you go. So ForkFest.
The airing of grievances.
And we'll see you there June 14th through the 18th at Rogers Campground. And so let's continue here. The story about California leaving the United States. Calexit gearing up again for a petition drive, and they've done this before. The founder of Calexit, Louis Marinelli, had introduced similar initiatives with little success beyond a few headlines and a lot of jokes. Based in San Diego in 2015, he introduced several independence-related initiatives that fizzled out. Later, he took his efforts to the Yes California campaign, which collected signatures in 2017 for a ballot measure seeking to ask voters if California should become a, quote, free, sovereign, and independent country, unquote. Signature gathering attempts were dropped amid questions about the founder's ties to Russia, which he ended up, if I recall correctly, leaving the United States in the midst of the petition drive to move to Russia. So he abandoned his entire concept, and I guess the other volunteers didn't want to pick up the ball in the midst of it. Now, Yes California is trying again. They want to ask Californians if they want to secede in 2020. If the measure passes, and yes, that's a big if, an official referendum would be held in 2021. So just to clarify, this is the same process as they were going through before. If they get the signatures required, and if I recall correctly, it was at least 500,000 of them, maybe like 600,000.
No, they need 300 and something.
But that means they still got to get like 500,000 to 600,000 to cover it.
Correct.
So they need 366,000 valid signatures to get on the ballot a question of should we put this on the ballot?
Yes.
So first, they have to qualify for right. So first, if they get 366,000 valid signatures, then on the 2020 ballot, they will ask Californians if they want to vote on secession. So that won't be the actual secession vote. It's asking them if they want to have another vote next time in 2021 about whether or not California should secede. So the actual question of secession isn't what this balloting is for. This is a question of asking people if they want a question of secession. It's crazy.
Correct.
It's just a stupid extra bureaucratic step.
Why is that? Why do they do it that way?
They have to, probably.
Like, so this is always how it's done?
This is, why would you do it? Right. Why would you do it that way?
I don't
it's got to
think
be a
any
government requirement.
state has wound up having an actual referendum question on secession ever. So when the state seceded in 1860, 1861, it was the legislatures that did that. There's probably some reason why they're doing it this way, to where I guess it winds up giving, quote unquote, more legitimacy to the future vote of, hey, look, we had 60 some odd % of the people say they wanted to vote on this thing, instead of just we had 300,000 people sign a piece of paper saying we want to vote on the thing.
Louis Marinelli, the author of the referendum, said, "We realize it may seem like a long time to wait, but we need time to have a serious dialogue with the people of California about why they should support the independence referendum by voting yes. The voters need to make an informed decision when they go to the polls to determine California's political future." Unquote. Calexit gained some attention after the 2016 election when some Californians were frustrated that Donald Trump won the presidency despite the Golden State voting 61.5% for Hillary Clinton. Backers of Calexit are hoping for a boost given the higher turnout of the 2020 presidential election. If President Trump is reelected in 2020, Californians will want to secede from the United States, just as they wanted to following the 2016 election, says the campaign. Quote, "This ballot measure we're now circulating will make this vote possible. We're asking the people to hedge their bet in 2020, vote against Donald Trump, but at the same time vote to schedule an independence referendum for 6 months later." Okay, so it's not a full year that they would have to wait. For 6 months later, for May 4th, 2021, you may end up wanting the referendum if he is reelected. The toll-free number here tonight, 855-450-FREE. Now, of course, this media piece here is trying its best to act like this is never going to happen, but I sure hope it does. Let's come back and talk more. It's Free Talk Live. You can join us.
Are you retired or facing retirement and you're afraid your income is going to be less than you'd like? I'm Pharmacist Keith. Dr. Wallach, the Dead Doctors Don't Lie guy, and I want to show you a low-cost way to create your own business working around your current schedule, creating extra income that will last for years to come by joining Dr. Wallach's crusade, spreading his message of better health. To learn more, visit radio.recordedvideo.com. That's radio.recordedvideo.com, radio.recordedvideo.com, or call 866-257-3105 for a recorded message.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists, get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM. The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Dial toll free to join us on the radio here. You can bring up whatever is on your mind. Our number is 855-450 free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We're talking about Calexit, one of the proposals for California secession that is not yet on the ballot. They do have to collect over 366,000 valid signatures before it will be placed on the ballot. But that's a doable thing, given that they have enough volunteers and or paid petition signature folks. And the word we had heard about previously was that this Calexit organization does have a fair amount of funding behind it from certain wealthy entrepreneurial types who would like to see California secede from the United States. So you want to comment on that? You're welcome to. Also, we're going to get into the three Californias proposal on the way. But California or any state seceding from the United States means one question needs to get answered, and that is, what will that state or future nation or whatever you want to call it, what will they end up using for money? Will the California government launch a California central bank and launch their own fiat currency? Or will they allow...
Probably.
Yeah, probably.
Bitcoin.
Or will they allow the market to decide? And, of course, we like Bitcoin here on Free Talk Live. You can go to bitcoin.com to learn about Bitcoin if you're new to the world's first cryptocurrency. Bitcoin right now is worth over $9,000. It's closing in on $10,000 again recently. Yeah. And so you want to get the latest about Bitcoin, go to bitcoin.com. They've got a great news site, by the way. Lots of news headlines there every single day. Fresh information about the world of cryptocurrency and Bitcoin specifically over at news.bitcoin.com. Again, that's news.bitcoin.com. Let's go to the phones here to Neil, who is very near California. He's there, I think. Are you in California or are you in Arizona? I know you're like right at the corner.
I'm in Needles, California.
Oh, so you are in California. Okay, go ahead, Neil.
Everything that I see and everything that I hear and everything I'm witnessing, I think California is going Republican. I don't think that they'll get the vote. I don't think that they'll get the votes to secede. And people are sick and tired with Jerry Brown and the sanctuary state. They're fed up with it, man. To tell you the truth, they're actually fed up with it.
What part of California are you from again?
Needles. He's in the southeast corner of California.
Interesting.
Now, wait a minute. So I guess, Neil, maybe it's the people you hang around with. I mean, what's the evidence whatsoever that California is going to flip to a red state?
Well, I have a very large Facebook following. Large. I mean, like just under 10,000 people. Okay. And I follow everything that goes on Facebook. And, the people that are backing Travis Allen running for governor in California, because he's already said in the debate last week, if he wins, first thing he's going to do is put an end to the sanctuary cities, and he's going to turn California into a must-issue state, meaning it'll be like Arizona. Everybody will get a gun permit or won't even maybe need a permit to carry a gun as long as they are legally can own a gun.
This sounds like a Californian red stater's pipe dream. I mean, it seems completely unrealistic to believe that California is going to go red all of a sudden. I mean, where's the evidence for it besides some Facebook groups you happen to be in? I mean, you do know that Facebook tends to be an echo chamber, right? You're more likely to be friends with the people who agree with you, and so therefore you're going to see those people's posts. You're more likely to be in groups of people that are people who agree with you. Now, that's not to say there aren't petty little spats that happen on Facebook all the time, but, I mean, are you hanging out in lefty groups or sort of general politics groups?
I hang out with them all. I like to listen to both sides. I'm not one of these screaming liberals that won't listen to what anybody else has to say. But I listen to them all. And I'm hearing more and more people are going red. They're going over to the Republican side because they're just sick of California being thrown into the septic tank.
Now, when is this next governor's race? Is it 2018 or is it 2020?
It's this year.
I believe the election is this year for governor.
Well, I guess we'll find out soon enough whether or not your predictions are accurate.
Weren't people fleeing California? Isn't that like the thing?
Yes, lots of people are
leaving, not coming.
They're going to Montana, they're going to Nevada, they're going to Utah.
It seems like people would be more likely to leave the state rather than, flip to Republican if they weren't happy.
And based on the current polling, it looks like it's going to be 2 Democrats on the general election ballot for governor because California's got that top 2 system, and the top 2 candidates in the polling right now are both Democrats.
Well, I'm hoping and praying that Travis Allen wins or gets in there, but we can only hope and pray. I mean, some people are going to stick around and fight for the state rather than just turn it over to the illegals.
Travis Allen currently polling at 10%, Gavin Newsom at 21%, and someone, I don't know the first name, last name is Villaraigosa, also a Democrat, polling 18%. So you've got Democrats polling at 40% and Republicans splitting basically the rest.
Yeah, it doesn't sound particularly optimistic for you. Now, if California were to, or if the Calexit folks are to get this ballot proposal on the ballot.
Or what about the 3 Californias proposal?
Yeah, so are you familiar with all of these secessionist proposals?
Yes, I've heard about them, and I don't think that they'll get on the ballot, and if they do, I don't think that they'll pass. But then you're talking about polling. You also, guys, remember the polls saying that Hillary Clinton was going to win with a landslide, but she didn't either.
Well, she did in California. She got over 60%. Now, Darryl, is the 3 California's proposal, is that going on this year, or is that another upcoming one?
That would be this year. Once they certify that of the well over 600,000 signatures that got turned in, once they certify that 360 whatever are valid, then it would be on the ballot this year.
So the proposal there, just roughly, I mean, we're going to cover it in more detail coming up here, is to split California into 3 separate states. And I don't know what portion Needles would be in.
That's in San Bernardino. That would be Southern California.
Okay, so that would be would that include, is Los Angeles Southern, or is that sort of mid-pack? I don't even know the geography there.
Let's see here. California would be the smallest, would be Los Angeles, and span north to the Monterey area, but exclude most of the inland region that's currently considered Southern California. So it'd be coastal from L.A. County up to Monterey.
And that would be called California.
That would be California.
Then there would be Southern California.
There would be Southern California that would be everything that's traditionally called Southern California minus that coastal area.
So that might be more of a red state?
North California that would be San Francisco up to Oregon.
Do you think that the Southern California would be more red?
The proposed Southern California would definitely be a Republican area.
So would you support that? I mean, if this triple California, 3 California thing gets on the ballot, would you go ahead and vote for that? Because if it succeeds, you'd get sort of a red version of California that you're looking for, Neil.
No, I would not vote to split it up. I I think that's ridiculous.
Why? Why is that ridiculous? Isn't that what you want? Don't you want to have more control?
Because I believe that there's enough people going red in California right now that it'll go Republican all the way.
Oh, wow. Ridiculous. I'm sorry. I mean, I'll believe it when I see it. I thank you for the call tonight,
This
Neil.
is the selfish kind of attitude that I am so disgusted with. It's like we can have multiple states with multiple different views and systems and so on. We don't have to, just because you can doesn't mean you should want to. Because what happens when the reverse happens, right? Like what happens if it goes Republican and then the other side gets it back, right?
They will.
And they will. And it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Why not just go the way that you can stick to what you like and then move to where
in his case, he wouldn't have to move.
Agree.
If this were to pass, if the Three California thing passes, he would be sitting pretty down there in Southern California in a basically new red version of California, and he would have all the things he's talking about, fantasizing about having. But as you point out, it's like the idea that they just can't let go of control, right? Like he has no control.
We'd have to redraw maps.
Yeah. He has no control whatsoever. He's a red state person living in California with a fantasy about taking over the whole state. He has no control, but he believes that if he were to vote for secession, their landmass would be smaller and that'd be bad or something.
I've said it many times on air, and I'll say it here. The New Hampshire Liberty Alliance is one of the most important organizations for freedom in the world. New Hampshire is ground zero for freedom, and the NHLA is the best organization at promoting effective liberty activism. This ad is sponsored by Free Talk Live, and I, Mark Edge, am a lifetime member because I believe in the NHLA. Please check them out at nhliberty.org. Not everyone can move right now, but you can support the cause. Donate top cryptocurrencies or old-fashioned U.S. dollars, nhliberty.org. Visit their website and see what they're all about, nhliberty.org.
What's more profitable, running your business or doing bookkeeping? Doing your business, of course, but you want to keep your books so that you can maximize your tax savings, right? What if I told you that there's a person that's a bookkeeper, accountant, and law school graduate that's also a hardcore libertarian?
My name is Melanie Johnson, and I hate the state. I will aggressively help you to minimize your tax exposure and maximize profits, all while staying within the law.
Melanie's your best choice for your taxes and bookkeeping needs. Go to tax.freetalklive.com and check out our website, tax.freetalklive.com.
I tried other brands, but I came back to my Sunshine.
For the best hot or cold pain relief, get the best. Get a Sunny Bay heating pad.
Sometimes life can be a pain in the neck or back or shoulder.
And the best relief for that pain is a Sunny Bay heating pad. Did you know that the American College of Physicians said that one of the best ways to treat muscle pain is heat therapy? Sunny Bay heating pads are handmade with high quality, can be used at home or at work, and have a lifetime 100% positive rating on both Amazon and Etsy.
Why take another pill?
Many people use our Sunny Bay heating pads alone and got rid of the neck pain.
Long distance travel or long hours in front of a computer can take its toll on your body.
See why our homegrown small business at sunny-bay.com has tried to help people just like you. Get your Sunny Bay heating pads at sunny-bay.com. That's sunny-bay.com or call 253-678-1361 for hot and cold therapy. sunny-bay.com.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
Ross Ulbricht was convicted in early 2015 of running the infamous Silk Road Underground Market. The Silk Road was a gift to humanity and helped reduce the harms brought on by drug prohibition. For this good deed, Ross has been sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole. Now, an appeal is Ross's only chance, and he needs your support. Please visit freeross.org, where you can contribute via various methods, including Bitcoin. Visit freeross.org. That's freeross.org.
Join the LRN.FM Discord for live chat 24/7 at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Calexit back in the news, but also 3 Californias. They're competing secessionist proposals in California right now, and we just got off the phone with a guy who is opposed to all of it. At least that's the way it sounded. You want to weigh in here with your thoughts, you're welcome to join us. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom, 855-450-3733, or keep the conversation going on the Free Talk Live forum anytime. That's available to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You go to forum.freetalklive.com. It'll take you right to the Free Talk Live forum. It's a section of the Shire Forum, so it's actually a much larger forum that it's a part of, with lots of other discussions related to cryptocurrency or the Liberty Movement here in New Hampshire, which is also very exciting. But one of those areas is for Free Talk Live listeners, so head on over to forum.freetalklive.com, and you can get interactive with other Free Talk Live listeners and some of the hosts of the show there. In fact, I know Darryl, Chris, and I are all 3 members of that forum and relatively active members of that forum.
Yeah, I think I posted recently here.
Yep, forum.freetalklive.com. So we just got off the phone, and you were frustrated, Chris, with that caller. In fact, I didn't realize how frustrated you were. Otherwise, I would have kept him on and let you have at him, because when his whole call, for those of you just tuning in, his whole call was all about this sort of red stater fantasy that, okay, we're on the cusp of the Reds taking over in California, which, of course, is ironically, that they're calling themselves red when that used to refer to communists. But
right, and even in 1992, the election maps, and I'm not making this up, you can go check it yourself.
Blue
the
was
election
Republican,
map,
right?
Blue was Republican in 1992.
Yeah.
Red was Democrat.
When did that flip?
Was either 96 or 2000.
Huh.
I forget which one, but for some reason
who
they wound up
decided that,
flipping.
Was it the news channels that made that decision?
Yeah, most of the news channels. And again, I forget if it was 96 or 2000, and that's when the term red stater and blue stater came about for some weird reason.
Wait, are you saying they flipped? So
they flipped. So it used to be
blue used to be Republican, red used to be Democrat.
On the maps, on the maps, showing who won where.
Oh wow,
yeah.
This was like 92.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so it's kind of, I was pretty young at that point. I was like 7 or so, I think.
Yeah, so very interesting. And so you've got this guy who's like, he believes the Republicans are going to just all of a sudden take over California, which would be the first time anything like that happened in quite a while. California is a pretty solidly left-leaning state, but he believes they're on the cusp of a win. And so when proposed to him the idea of this 3 California proposal, which would split California into 3 different states, which for one of the complaints of the people who are so-called red staters or Republican types in California has been that they can't win and that they would like to have their own version of California where they actually have some political influence. And this 3-state version where California splits into 3 states in they would all stay in the United States, presumably. This would give him that. It would give him the ability to have a red state California. It would be Southern California in his particular case.
Yes.
Would likely be almost completely, Republican dominated. And when that was proposed to him, he just firmly said no and said that he wants to have the whole state to go red. And so it's just like, by the way, I heard this exact same attitude when I was at a leftist protest here in New Hampshire. It was right after the election.
It doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, it was right after Trump got elected.
Both parties want to have control. They want to control the other people.
That's right.
They might want to control them in different ways, but they both want to control you.
Right, especially since they've been controlled for so long. It's like they want to get them back. You know, the lefties have been in charge for so long. We're going to turn the tables on them.
Right. And for people that aren't necessarily familiar with New Hampshire politics, we live in kind of what would be described as a purple state.
It flips back and forth.
To where the state legislature flips back and forth. Right now we have a Republican governor, but the entire delegation in the District of Criminals are all Democrats. And there's just this weird mix. And then the legislature,
and most of the registered voters aren't Republicans and Democrats. They're so-called
plurality or undeclared.
Yeah. I've always thought that was so interesting.
Even though they lean towards one party or the other, they opt to be undeclared because of that independent New Hampshire spirit or something.
Yeah. There's something to that.
But then the legislature, generally the first 2 years, they spend time undoing things that got done by the other party when they were in office for 2 years, and then they try to get some of their stuff done.
I love it.
And then when it flips again, they wind up undoing things that the other party did, and
it's hard for them to actually grow the government because they're constantly fighting with one another.
Except for the Republican governor that wound up growing the budget by like $600 million because somehow small government.
Yeah, I mean they're still Republicans and Democrats, so they're not small, truly
but
small government.
Will fight themselves on petty things, but then join together to increase the budget.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
They just argue about which things the budget should be increased for.
We can't win them all right now. We don't have enough libertarians who've moved here yet. We need thousands more migrants to come here. But it is frustrating.
And people to opt out of the two-party system.
So as I was saying, I had the exact same experience of what we just heard from this Republican guy of like, I don't want my 1/3 the size of a state. I want to have the whole state to us Republicans. The same mentality I heard on display at a leftist protest right after Trump got elected. You know, there was all this sort of fervor that got stirred up in various different places, and there was these anti-Trump protests that went on shortly after his election. And I went to one of them because I wanted to talk to these people about secession. I figured what better place than to talk to people who are mad about Trump, like, hey, maybe it's time to start thinking about leaving, huh? Well, some of them were open-minded. Of course, in any group, you're going to have a variety of things. But I talked to one older guy there who was just resolute in he was determined. We're not seceding. We're going to take back control over Washington, D.C. It was the exact same mentality, just on the nationwide level instead of at the California level. Let's go to California, where Bill is on the line, listening to KVLI in Lake Isabella. Hello, Bill.
Hey, how you guys doing today?
Hey, Bill, welcome. You're on the air.
Yeah. First of all, you at the top of the show, just to clarify, we in California we get back about 60 cents on every dollar that we pay in federal taxes.
So it is a donor state.
We're the biggest donor state.
Got it. That's what I thought.
Yeah, I couldn't remember, but the point was, even if you're not a donor state, money is still going to D.C. before coming back to California.
So why are you guys still donating to the rest of the states?
Because if we don't, the IRS will probably come after us. But I wanted to get to that Calexit thing. I got the notice in the mail for the upcoming primaries, and there's nothing in there about it. I live in Kern County. I live in one of the tumbleweed counties, so to speak. And those counties along the coast, like L.A. and Marin and SF County and Santa Barbara County, heavily subsidize, these so-called tumbleweed counties like Kern and Fresno. And I could see where that guy wouldn't want to, he wouldn't want it to happen because, if you live in Bakersfield or Fresno or Eastern California, in Inyo or something like that, you're probably going to lose a lot of services, a lot of state services.
So, I mean, wouldn't a Republican supposedly want to lose state services?
Well, they talk out of both sides of their mouth, the Republicans do. First of all, there was a gas tax that was enacted last fall that raised the price of gasoline about 12 cents a gallon.
Wow.
And we're all, I'm kind of bummed out about it. Okay, I'm not really. I'm kind of a middle of the road politics-wise. And I didn't like to see that. Our gas here is like $3.59 a gallon. Okay, it's pretty expensive.
Yeah.
But the thing is like I don't have to, if I want to go mountain biking or hiking, I don't have to. I can go out my front door and do it. Okay, I don't have to drive somewhere far. Fishing, it's like about 0.2 of a mile to go to the lake and go fishing. So I don't use much fuel. And a lot of the states like that. Even if you live in the city, you can practically almost just bicycle out of your driveway and go mountain biking. A lot of states aren't like that, especially like in the Great Lakes area where I'm from. You got to drive a long way.
Mm-hmm.
So, and secondly, there's this guy that's running for governor. There's going to be a governor election in the fall, and there's a hard right candidate that's been on the radio a lot that's promising to undo a lot of things. He's like
he may or may not be in the election in the fall.
Is
because
this the same guy that the caller earlier? What's the guy's name? Do you know?
Oh God, it's I can't. He's on. He runs commercials all the time. He's got a 4-letter, 1-syllable name. I forgot who he was, but
okay.
But the reason I say he might not actually be in the election in the fall is California does a top 2 system to where the top 2 candidates in the June primary are the only 2 candidates on the general election ballot. And right now, Democrats are polling 1 and 2. So there might not even be a Republican that anybody can vote for in the general election. And California does not allow write-in votes.
Bill, if you want to hang on and talk further about this, you're welcome to stand by. We got the news coming up here, and then we can get back to you. And I'm curious to know if he sticks with us. I don't know if he will. But if he sticks with us, how he would vote or will vote on this 3-state initiative, which would carve California into 3 separate states.
It's about time something new came along for better selling and buying online. And I found it.
What now, Marge?
It's buysellmakeoffer.com.
Never heard of it.
It's a brand new company. That's why you've never heard of it. It's the newest and best way to sell any products online. I did all the research.
Sell my car?
Yes.
Our home?
Yep.
My golf bag?
Your golf clubs. All of them.
How about your purse collection hoard?
Hey, now.
You said any product.
You're right. I did. We get 30 days free.
Really?
Packages starting from only $9.95. And buysellmakeoffer.com will never charge item fees ever. Never. And this is cool. Listen to this. You can even use Skype or video to show your items.
That's cool.
Yes. All we have to do is go to the website, sign up, and then load our stuff to sell. I love this site.
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. You got it?
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. Better selling, better buying.
So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Friday, May 4th, 2018. Silver is trading at $16.47 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,314 per ounce. Zencash is trading at $40, and the average price of Bitcoin is $9,628. Antiwar.com reports the U.S. military is more deeply involved in the Saudi war in Yemen than officials ever admitted. In fact, new evidence suggests the Pentagon lied to Congress during the March debate about U.S. involvement, presenting the U.S. role at present being limited to targeting and mid-air refueling of Saudi warplanes. The New York Times is reporting there are actually a small number of U.S. special forces on the ground at the Saudi border with Yemen. Those troops have not only been on the ground since late 2017, but are there on a mission to help the Saudi military fight Yemen's Shiite Houthi movement. No public debate ever took place with respect to this deployment. Indeed, the Pentagon appears to have gone to great lengths not to tell the American public or Congress about the Green Berets they sent to the border. The Green Berets are intended to help the Saudis locate and destroy Houthi missiles and attack Houthi missile launch sites inside Yemen. This has been going on despite the Trump administration telling Congress that America's involvement in Yemen was purely non-combat, and again despite the Pentagon repeatedly saying that America's sole involvement in Yemen was logistical and support for the air war. Senator Tim Kaine of Virginia said the Pentagon was deliberately blurring the lines between train and equip missions and combat. It is unclear from the report from the New York Times if the U.S. troops crossed into Yemen, but given that their mission was to target Houthi sites, it seems almost certain that they have. CENTCOM Commander General Joseph Votel, during the March debate, did say he had authorization to help the Saudis defend their border. At that time, however, he told the Senate that this was being done purely through intelligence sharing and military advice. Clearly, it also involved physical U.S. troops on the border. It remains to be seen what the consequences of the Pentagon's deception will be domestically. At the very least, it seems like this could provide a new pretext for a vote on ending U.S. involvement in the Yemen war, as Congress lacked all the information they needed to have an informed vote in March. For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. And as a Bitcoin-preferred business, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports Twitter encouraged all of its users to change their passwords on Thursday after discovering a bug that caused passwords to be stored without proper encryption. The social media platform discovered a bug that caused user passwords to be stored in an internal log without going through a process known as hashing, in which password characters are replaced with a random set of numbers and letters. Twitter's chief technology officer wrote in a blog post, "Due to a bug, passwords were written to an internal log before completing the hashing process. We found this error ourselves, removed the passwords, and are implementing plans to prevent this bug from happening again." The CTO said the bug had been fixed and an investigation showed there was no indication of breach or misuse by anyone. He still encouraged users to change their passwords out of an abundance of caution, and Twitter pushed a pop-up window to users explaining the bug and including a link to the settings page. Bitcoin Not Bombs is a launching pad for nonprofits and social entrepreneurs into the financial freedom of the Bitcoin economy. Bitcoin Not Bombs offers premium publicity campaigns designed to facilitate an organization's adoption of Bitcoin as a payment system and to fully capitalize on that decision in their fundraising efforts. Bitcoin Not Bombs is fully committed to being the hub of the nonprofit sector of the Bitcoin economy, maximizing the potential cross-promotion of all our clients and commercial partners. To learn more, visit bitcoinnotbombs.com. Reuters reports the Republican-controlled Oklahoma legislature approved an adoption measure on Thursday that critics say discriminates against same-sex couples, non-Christians, and single parents. The bill would allow faith-based adoption agencies, including those that receive public funding, to turn away would-be parents on the basis of their marital status or religion and religious beliefs. Supporters of the bill said the legislation would open the door for more child placement partnerships. The State House of Representatives approved the bill by a vote of 56 to 21 without discussion or debate, despite vocal objections by the Democratic caucus. Earlier in the day, the Senate passed the bill by a vote of 33 to 7. Opponents of the bill could mount a legal challenge. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
A job applicant totally nails an interview with the person who will make his life a living hell for the next 5 years. And adjusting several sliders on a recording studio's mixing console pays off big time. This is the Onion Week in Review. This week, a study published by researchers at Johns Hopkins University revealed a direct correlation between breastfeeding and knowing exactly what's best for other people at all times. Overwhelming evidence indicated that the moment mothers begin breastfeeding, they develop a highly honed sense of what is wrong with others' approach to life, and were able to loudly enumerate those faults with total confidence in their accuracy. Researchers noted that the practice greatly boosted a young mother's immunity to the viewpoints of others. And in this week's Tech Report, a startup is very casual about about its dress code and benefits. In other news, the Secretary of Interior says knocking down the Rocky Mountains could really open up the nation. And a woman is not going to let her husband of 60 years drag her into death at the same time.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. We're launching into the second hour of the program. We're talking about arguably the most noteworthy secessionist movements that are in California right now. There's the Free California Initiative, which we've touched on. We're going to get into that a little bit further. There's also Calexit. The difference being Calexit is proposing that the existing state of California leave the United States and become its own nation, whereas the Free California proposal is proposing that California be split into 3 different states.
Correct.
To stay within the United States. We've got Bill, who's on the line with us here. We're going to bring him back on. But with you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
And Chris.
And Darryl.
And Bill's in the Lake Isabella region, which is Kern County, which according to the map that I'm looking at here, Bill, it looks as though that is proposed in this 3 states initiative. That is proposed to be part of Southern California, so it would not be locked in there with Los Angeles and some of the other more populated areas. Your thoughts on 3 Californias? Are you going to vote for this when it shows up on the ballot this year?
If it shows up, and I don't think it will, of course I won't vote for it. I don't know of anybody that would.
Why not?
These come up harebrained. Because, like I said earlier, my county would lose so much state funding if it happened. We get so much funding from people that live in Beverly Hills and Malibu and Marin County. You know, these people out here are poor. Okay, they're broke. They're impoverished. Okay, and those, like I say, those blue counties on the coast, they subsidize, just like the state of California is subsidizing people in Mississippi and West Virginia and whatever Tucky you want to name. Okay. Hey, I got that name while I was on break. The name of the guy the Republican running for governor, is a guy named John Cox. Does that sound familiar to you?
No, it's a different name than what the other guy. So there was another guy who'd called in, and he was real excited about some Republican that he thought was going to change everything too. So I guess that's confusing to me because I've always thought that the people in the red counties in California wanted to be independent from the blue counties, and now you're telling me that you want their tax money?
No, I'm not saying. What I'm saying is that the people that live in these red counties, okay, they're not the brightest people. They're, like I say, they're hillbillies and stuff, and they think they want to be red and conservative and all that, but they don't understand that a lot of their services and all that is being paid for by those very people that they hate down in L.A. And it's like that in any state. I'm a Michigan native, and I grew up in Detroit, and you go north in the state, and everyone north of Pontiac basically hates Detroit, okay? But Detroit is basically footing the bill for the state. If it weren't for Detroit, those wood ticks in the UP, they really would be, living off the land instead of off of welfare.
So you're saying the people in your understanding of the people that are your neighbors there in the red counties of California are so ignorant that they want to be free from the people in the blue counties, but at the same time they don't realize that that's what's subsidizing their lifestyle?
I don't know. I wouldn't call it a lifestyle so much. I mean, people,
Well, collecting welfare is a certain lifestyle, right? Like if that's what you do, is you collect welfare and you live off the state and its programs, you're saying those people would be affected, and so therefore they would be, if they were even aware of what was going on, they would vote no on the proposal.
There are people that, there's people that game the system, and then there's people that legitimately are legitimate, with services and all that, that they're really, they need it to survive and all that. The thing is, though, this is like, it's like anywhere else in the country. If you're down in the city in L.A. or something like that, you hear something on the radio, and then as soon as you cross over that grapevine, that pass over the mountains into the Central Valley, it's completely different. It's like you're in a whole different universe, and that's kind of why you hear all of these Calexit proposals all the time. This has been going on for decades. Okay, I've lived here for 34 years, and I used to live in Santa Barbara County, and the people in Santa Barbara County are, they pay a lot of taxes. I did too, okay? But you know what? To live, where the weather is beautiful all year round, and like I said, where you can just mountain bike your front door, I don't want it to be cheap to live here, okay? I want I don't want it to be the same as here as in Texas, okay? Because there would be 100 million people living here. I mean,
you don't want it to be cheap. What is your political viewpoint? I'm just curious. I can't figure you out.
I'm political agnostic. I vote the person. I never belong to the Republican or a Democrat party.
Gotcha.
Either one of them.
But you like a big state, and you want to keep it that way, so the wealth redistribution can continue unabated.
You know what? I don't have a problem with the welfare system. Okay, like I say, I paid my taxes and stuff. On the other hand, like I say, you know what I said earlier, if this place got to be a cheap place to live, everyone would live here. Okay, it kind of was a way. It's so, like I say, almost $4 a gallon gas.
So you want to live amongst your like wealthy elite and stuff is what you're saying.
No, there's a different. See, the thing is I've lived in about 16 different states. Okay, and of all the states, that's why I chose to retire here. Is because the people that live here, and there's people from all over the world living here, that there's just a sense of community in the state. Okay, people help each other out. They're not. I mean, you live in some. I mean, I live in.
I'm pretty sure you can find that anywhere.
Right.
But hey, man, I thank you for the call. I thank you for the explanation from where you're coming from. It's very interesting to hear who's opposed to secession. And thank you, Bill. I appreciate it. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. And if they can elucidate as to why they are. So his opposition is he likes the state being big. He likes the big programs. He likes the expensive factor because it keeps people out.
Right, and one of the arguments that I've heard people mention previously, but I have not, I don't think in a while, heard anybody call in to say is, well, I don't want to change the number of stars on the flag, and I don't want to have to buy new maps.
Yeah, we haven't heard those objections
But
yet
I've
tonight.
heard those previously. Of, well, 50 is just a good number, and 50, what? That would just look so funny and weird on a flag.
Shouldn't have any change ever again.
Yeah, I wonder if the flag maker... I don't know if there is a guild or union of flag makers, but if there are, I think they should formally come out in support of secession.
Because big money.
All of them. Yeah. And the cartographers should also come out in support.
the map
makers. Yeah, the cartographers. I just like saying cartographers.
That's a good word. The toll-free number here, if you want to jump in and share your thoughts with us, our number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. So far we've heard from a Republican in California who opposes creating a state that would be more Republican out of the existing California because he just wants to impose his way on the entire landmass.
Right.
And then we've heard from a self-described political independent who wants to keep things status quo because he's worried about the welfare recipients in the poorer counties.
Right, and we've previously heard from people that support the state of Jefferson. Have we heard?
That's the northern part?
Northern California. Yeah. That the original proposal was Northern California and Southern Oregon.
Right.
But the Southern Oregon thing has just sort of like ceased to be part of it. But we've not heard, at least in a while that I'm aware of, from anybody supporting the New California.
Is this a different proposal?
This is a completely different proposal.
All right.
So back in January, there was a group of people calling themselves the founders of New California that read out their own Declaration of Independence from California, saying that the state of California was ungovernable.
This is also a Northern California thing, right?
This is everything other than... L.A. to the Bay Area, including Sacramento.
Okay, so they would carve out into two Californias?
Would be, right. So they're calling their state New California. Mm-hmm. That would be San Diego County, Orange County, everything inland going all the way up, and then the coastal areas just north of San Francisco. So Sacramento, which is technically not part of the Bay Area, but it just juts over so that Sacramento stays the capital of California, and then everything else is New California. And their argument is that, well, let me just read part of it. The group said, after years of overtaxation, regulation, and monoparty politics, the state of California and many of its 58 counties have become ungovernable. The group said in a statement citing decline in essential basic services, including education, law enforcement, infrastructure, and health care.
So they want more services So they're going to secede so they can have more services, even though
More
our
of
last
the
caller said that
essential services.
Right, even though our last caller said that he believes those services would suffer if there were a state split.
He believes that the welfare would suffer. They want essential basic service. They don't want welfare. They just want police and fire and courts and schools.
Okay, more coming up. Free Talk Live.
She seems happier. Her fur is so much shinier, silkier, softer. She has really mellowed a lot.
Sheba is 105 lean pounds of shiny, smooth, happy dog for life.
The shedding has stopped. The itching has stopped.
Since 2001, we've helped more than 250,000 dogs get over their nutritional deficiency miseries.
And saved our customers bazillions in vet bills.
Everything we tried failed except the Dinovite.
Come to Dinovite for help.
DINOVITE.com.
If you want the dog to be healthy, you got to feed it something healthy.
The omega-3 fatty acids, flaxseed, zinc, alfalfa, the digestive enzymes that are cooked out of regular dog food.
Dinovite is nutrition.
Dinovite for life.
Don't let your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy.
Come to Dinovite for help.
859-428-1000.
859-428-1000.
DINOVITE.com.
I've said it many times on air, and I'll say it here. The New Hampshire Liberty Alliance is one of the most important organizations for freedom in the world. New Hampshire is ground zero for freedom, and the NHLA is the best organization at promoting effective liberty activism. This ad is sponsored by Free Talk Live, and I, Mark Edge, am a lifetime member because I believe in the NHLA. Please check them out at nhliberty.org. Not everyone can move right now, but you can support the cause. Donate top cryptocurrencies or old-fashioned U.S. dollars, nhliberty.org. Visit their website and see what they're all about, nhliberty.org.
Cryptocurrencies are successful because of good technology. The liberty-loving voluntarists who founded Zencash in 2017 took the best tech, like zero-knowledge anonymity and decentralized autonomous organizations, and are creating a secure platform for money, messages, and media that can be sent to anyone, anywhere in the world. Zencash is a cryptocurrency dedicated to peace, anonymity, and decentralization. Find out more at zencash.com. That's zencash.com. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm. LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air, and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live. You can dial on in here toll-free. We're talking about California's various different secession proposals, whether it be New California, which Darryl was just telling us would split California into one big version of itself, and then one tiny little sliver, the more populated areas being the sliver and the less populated areas being the larger version. Then there's also the 3 California proposal, 3-state initiative, which actually is going on the ballot this year, apparently, which would split California into 3 different states. Again, that sort of sliver of the populated areas, and then a northern and southern variant, so 3 different Californias.
And again, it's not officially certified that it's on the ballot, but Tim Draper, who's the multi-bazillionaire behind this, they turned in some signatures a couple of weeks ago, and they turned in well over 600,000.
They only need 366.
They need 360 some odd thousand valid. Chances are they're going to have enough, and I think they've given themselves enough room to where if they need a few more, they've got a little bit of time, I think.
Yeah, and according to the ballot initiative here, and we were looking at the other proposal, which is the California secedes as it is from the United States entirely, meaning that there would be a nation of California that would not be part of the United States. So there are at least 3 separate and distinct proposals out there. The Calexit, or the California Secession proposal, that is not yet on a ballot. They're trying to qualify for the ballot in 2020. The 3 California campaign is going to be likely qualified for the ballot this year. And that proposal is not structured the same way, because we were talking about how the Calexit proposal is a proposal to put a ballot initiative out there that would ask people if they want to have a vote on the question of secession.
Correct.
So it would be first a question about whether they want to have the question, and then if that passes, it would be the actual question the next year.
Right.
This one, though, the 3 California, is not the same structure. This one, the petition language would say this, quote, "It divides California into 3 states subject to approval by Congress, assigns each county to a new state. Upon passage, directs the governor to request that Congress grant the approval within 12 months. If Congress approves, it directs the legislature to divide California's assets and liabilities between the new states. Provides that if legislature fails to act within 12 months of congressional approval, debts shall be distributed among new states based on population relative to California's population as a whole, and assets within the boundaries of each new state shall become the assets of that new state." So that's the proposal to just go ahead and split them. So there's not going to be a pre-proposal thing. There's just the proposal that'll go on the ballot. So this will be very interesting.
So that sounds different than the other one.
It's very different.
Like significantly. So I really don't understand why, if they didn't have to do it with this one, why there needs to be 2 votes for the other one.
As Darryl said, to get more discussion or whatever, or as they were saying.
This is not a vote about any of these Californias leaving the United States of America. This is about creating new states from an existing state.
All right, I don't know. It seems like you're just asking the question twice, basically.
Well, they are kind of asking the
No,
California.
they're asking different questions.
No. He's talking about Calexit. Yes, they are kind of asking the question twice, and I'll speculate further on the reason they might want to do it. So they're going to have Californians going to the ballot in 2020 during a national election, which of course generally means more voters coming out. So they have a large number of people who will potentially vote on the question of, should we ask the question? So that's the first question. If they vote in favor of should we ask the question will then be asked 6 months later at what appears to be a special election for that purpose. So a very costly thing to do, right? I mean, this is for people that are in favor of smaller government, they wouldn't support even at, just on that basis to call a special election. But the people who show up to a special election are going to be the politically motivated. They're going to be the ones who are more likely to vote in favor, I would think, of something like this, rather than the masses coming in and putting down a vote. You would have to specifically make time to go to this election if they end up having it, because that'll be the only question that's asked, right?
Right, but I don't know if it is, going to overwhelmingly be people in support that
it may be
show
overwhelmingly
up,
against,
because there could be a really good get out the vote campaign by the stay in the U.S. because we don't want to redraw maps.
There may very well be, but at the very least, you're only talking about the motivated people who are going to go and vote, whether it's one way or the other. You're not going to have, the fence sitters are not going to show up for that particular election.
Right, and fence sitters generally don't show up in midterm elections anyway, which is what this is.
So that, to me, that's part of what they're trying to do here.
That makes sense now that you explained it really well.
And one of their guys, so we did have an article about this over at the San Diego Union Tribune. One of the spokespeople for Yes California also used the excuse of, well, they're expecting Trump to get reelected. And so they're hoping that the fervor, the anti-Trump fervor that happened like it happened in 2016 will happen again in 2020, and that they'll be able to persuade more people at that point. If there were fence sitters and then Trump gets reelected, that may push some of those fence sitters off the fence, but that'll happen right after the election, which means that the next thing they do within 6 months or 6 months from that time would be to go ahead and hold that vote of, all right, should we leave? So they're hoping actually that Trump gets reelected here to push these California voters into saying, all right, that's it, we're fed up, let's leave the United States.
Which kind of seems
crazy.
crazy.
Which is kind of tactical, and it makes sense.
It's kind of, yeah, it does. It does make a lot of sense. It seems kind of crazy that you would be advocating. I mean, presumably these people are voting, the other way, right? Mm-hmm. They're voting for Hillary supporters. So you would think, that they would not support Trump, but they might actually kind of come out and support Trump just so that they
I don't think they'd publicly support Trump. The statement that he made earlier here, let's see, is if President Trump is reelected in 2020, Californians will want to secede from the United States, just as they wanted to in the 2016 election. We're asking the people to hedge their bet in 2020, vote against Donald Trump, but at the same time vote to schedule the independence referendum for 6 months later. So they're not publicly saying to vote for Donald Trump.
It kind of seems like one of those things where if that's the tactic, behind the scenes, you want to be funding Trump's campaign.
It does seem that way, yeah.
Even though
quietly support him.
Even though on publicly you're gonna say vote against Trump.
Well, considering that campaign donations are public, if any of the supporters of Yes California are seen on the Donald Trump donor list, then that's definitely going to hurt their cause.
Yeah, I don't.
Good point.
I don't disagree with that. That's why it's like behind the scenes.
There's no way to legally behind the scenes
Couldn't you donate to one of those PACs or something like that?
If it's a PAC that is only donating money to Donald Trump, then everybody's going to know you're donating to Donald Trump.
Couldn't you donate from some corporation?
Depends on the structure of the PAC, and
I don't know all these donation rules.
Yeah,
so I'm just asking.
They're complicated, and they wind up getting tweaked all the time.
You can tell here who's the more what's the word, politically talented person in this group.
Well, Darryl definitely knows his stuff when it comes to politics.
Yeah.
He ran for president. Marinelli, the main person.
Yeah, and I didn't pay attention to the FEC rules. I knew what they were.
Yeah.
So that I could intentionally, so that I could intentionally violate them, but I wanted to know that I was violating them.
Marinelli, who was the founder of the secessionist version of the California various different proposals, the Yes California, a.k.a. Calexit, had been reported to be an American who has lived in Russia. In 2017, he announced his intent to move to Russia for good and cut ties with the Calexit movement. But now he's back again, listed on the current initiative, and reportedly once again living in California. So he seems to be a bit of a flake, or maybe things didn't work out the way he was hoping they would for him in the nation of Russia. We'll continue here in moments. It's Free Talk Live.
You have been lied to, generation after generation, time after time after time.
If you follow the money, then you understand why America's in the condition it's in.
You created the Federal Reserve in 1913 through lies. You create 9/11. Through 9/11, then you're fighting a war on terror, and now all of a sudden you go into Iraq, which was another lie.
This book will open people's eyes. Pre-order now at killingunclesambook.com. killingunclesambook.com.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of slingbow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
A new trend in offices across the country, more and more people are switching to fetal position desks so that they can curl up in a ball on the floor while they work. Aaron Vaughn has a story.
The human body isn't meant to sit at a desk for 6 or 7 hours. The natural position, especially in the workplace, is to shut down completely, return to a womb-like state, and rock back and forth to soothe yourself.
Fetal position desks, which are even popping up in offices like Google and Facebook, come in a variety of shapes and sizes. Some have adjustable height, so you can cower underneath them, while more expensive options include a warm, pulsating blanket for workers to wrap themselves in to feel calm. But many people are making their own.
I've rigged this up so I can type comfortably and my arms won't get tired. Plus, it's got speakers so I can listen to a comforting voice saying shh over and over again.
I've tried a fetal position desk myself, and I can say it's a great way to get through the f***ing day.
Thanks, Aaron. I hate my job.
This is the Onion News Network.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippie! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadati.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can take control of the airwaves here. You can bring up whatever is on your mind. Our number is 855-450, free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We've got Skype as well, so feel free to Skype into the show. Skype username is lrn.fm, and in the studio with you tonight, it's Ian.
And Chris.
And Darryl.
Plus, we've got our Discord on-air call-in line room. Go to discord.lrn.fm. You can click into the top chat room there, and we will join you, and you'll be on the air with us. You can talk about what you want. We've been focusing heavily on California's secessionist movements, the variety of them, which I think is wonderful. To me, that shows that at the very least there's a healthy discussion going on surrounding the idea of secession, whether it be full-on national secession of California leaving from the United States and becoming its own nation, or some of the other initiatives like the New California, which would split California into 2, or the 3 California proposal, which would split it into 3 separate states still within the United States, of course, subject to congressional approval. Those are the things that are on the table at the moment to discuss, but if you want to comment on anything that happens to be in the news or on your mind, you're welcome to join us here. Now, we're big fans of cryptocurrency here on Free Talk Live, and some cryptos are better than others, and there are a lot of different reasons why. You've got to get in if you want to get into the world of alternatives to Bitcoin, because there are a lot of choices. You really need to do your due diligence. You need to do your research. There's a bit of a learning curve. So get started over at Zencash.com by looking at Zencash. It's one of the best out there in the world of privacy. They've got zero-knowledge anonymity. It's some of the best technology that's available. Plus, it's being backed up now by over 11,000 secure nodes, meaning it has more secure nodes in its network then Bitcoin has full nodes in its network. And as you pointed out, Darryl, the secure nodes are a more dedicated type of node because you have to actually stake some of the currency, some of the Zen Cash, the Zen. You have to stake it in order to become a full or a secure node, whereas a full node on Bitcoin doesn't have to have any stake. They can just run the software. Not that there's anything wrong with that. It's just it shows there's more of a commitment there behind Zencash. So Zencash was also made by voluntarists, people that believe in voluntary interaction, and they wrote it into their white paper. You can go and see it for yourself. If you're a liberty-loving person, you probably will find Zencash very interesting. If you're a privacy-loving person, you'll definitely find it interesting. Go learn more, and that's over at Zencash.com. Zencash with a Z, Zencash.com. As we continue here talking about the various different California secessionist proposals, the story that we started the show with was from San Diego Union Tribune about the Calexit proposal, the one that I'm the biggest fan of. I do want to see this happen more so than the other ones, but I still support the other ones. Just any kind of political devolution or evolution, however you want to look at it. To me, it's an evolution to have more choices. But they would be devolving or separating from the existing California. So I'm not sure what word you want to use, but either way, I like the one where they leave the United States entirely. But that's going to be a controversial thing, to have happen, and that's what they wanted. They want to have the discussion, and that's why they're collecting the signatures to get it on the ballot in 2020.
Remember back in 2009, 2011, 2012, somewhere around there, when a bunch of these petitions went up on the petition.whitehouse website.
Yep.
And
secessionist petitions.
Several of them were, petition to allow fill-in-the-blank state to leave the Union.
Texas was the big one with over 100,000 signatures.
And the response, the official response from the Obama administration was, we settled that in 1861 through 1865.
With a civil war.
Right.
Yeah.
By killing 600,000 people, we settled that, and therefore dead people equals rules.
The suggestion was they would be willing to do that again if they had
to. Yeah. That was the suggestion. While he didn't actually come out and say we'll kill 600,000 people living in Texas, it was certainly implied that he would be willing to do so.
Yeah.
The question is, would Trump be willing to kill 600,000 Californians?
Well, they may be more than that because there's a lot more people in California.
Right. I'm just saying, that's how many people died in the first Civil War, and chances are a second one would have as many deaths.
I mean, I would think a lot of the evaluations on whether or not to invade is whether or not it's worth it. So if you can increase,
well, California is a donor state, so they keep the taxes flowing.
Right. But yeah, I mean, and that's just it. Like, how much is it going to cost to go to war with California?
A lot of money.
And then once it's destroyed, what are they going to get out of it?
Well, that's an excellent question. They would, have their booby prize of we destroyed the state that was our golden goose, right?
Right. And it's always that question that you have to ask, because at the end of the day, it's not necessarily whether or not you have more resources than your enemy. It's whether or not you can outlast your enemy in terms of making it more of a pain to invade your state or your country, your territory, than it is the other way around.
Yeah, it's a tough decision to bring violence, because then they also have the political difficulty of you're murdering your family members, right? Like, because a lot of people probably, given the population of California, a lot of people likely have family that live there, or friends, or whatever, people they know who live out in California. And how many people within the United States populace are going to support an invasion of one of their own former states?
And I also have to wonder, how have things changed since the Civil War, right? Like, I mean, at one point people didn't move around much.
Mm-hmm.
Today people move around a lot.
More so than then, for sure.
You really would be killing.
Well, during the Civil War, there was brother killing brother.
There was, but it would. I would think it would be even more
worse,
now, right?
Yeah, it might be worse
because
now.
we have even more.
It'll be worse because now they're flying robots that drop bombs, and they didn't have that 160 years ago.
True.
Yeah.
Seth Kaplowitz, a finance lecturer at San Diego State University, told CNBC he thinks the effort will fade away What are the odds, says San Diego Union Tribune's author here. Any such push for independence faces an extremely difficult road, as we have written before. The lecturer says, quote, "It would be ridiculous to secede from the Union. The only person who would probably be happy about that is probably Donald Trump," unquote. Well, no, sir. There will be a lot of people who would be happy to see California go. There are plenty of people who would be happy because they live in California and they want to leave, and then there's a lot of other people who'd be happy because then California would not be a player in the national scene anymore. They wouldn't have the large influence that they currently do over, national politics. Many people don't want to be pushed around by California. They don't want to emulate California. They don't want to have them even involved in the discussions at the national level. So I think the correct response to this from both sides should be yes. Support this measure. The lefties should support it because it will give them their own lefty socialist state, and the righties should support it because it will get rid of a lefty socialist state from the United States.
You know what's funny about this whole conversation is I think it's actually the libertarians who are going to be more in support of this than either the left or the right.
I hope
it's absolutely
so.
crazy.
I hope so. There's even libertarians who oppose secession.
Right.
When we talk about New Hampshire secession.
How is that?
There are libertarians who oppose immigration. There are libertarians who support the drug war. There are libertarians
they're not really
who support
libertarians, but they call themselves libertarians.
Right.
But you can be a libertarian, and secession isn't really a libertarian question, right? Like if libertarianism is about the non-aggression principle, whether or not secession is successful is not really, it doesn't, the non-aggression principle doesn't really play in there. So you can still be a libertarian and be one way or another on this. While we might want to make the argument that libertarians should support generally smaller government and so therefore should support secession because it could lead to smaller government, it may not. So like if you look at the Calexit proposal, there's a very good chance that after seceding, California is going to be more socialist. It's going to be more big government than it currently is. Yeah, they'll get to keep all their money within California, but they may end up creating more government programs.
Libertarian Party Platform Plank 3.7. Whenever any form of government becomes destructive of individual liberty, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it, and to agree to new such governance as to them shall seem most likely to protect their liberty.
So supporting the theory of secession.
It's in the libertarian platform that libertarians support self-determination.
Sure. Yeah. Even though that could mean that particular seceded entity then becomes less libertarian and more pro-government.
Yeah, I think
that's the risk.
Right, there is that risk, and I think it's probably a future thing that would happen, not something that you would necessarily want to happen today.
There's more coming up here. 855 450 free. Are you a naysayer of secession? Get on the lines.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dynovite for help.
Order a 90-day supply of Dynovite.
Everything we tried failed except the Dynovite.
Pick up 2 bottles of Super Mega Fish Oil.
Get the 3rd bottle free. Packed with omega-3, DHA, and EPA fatty acids.
Super Mega is great for your dog's immune system, healthy skin, and soft, shiny fur.
Dogs love it. Try Super Omega Fish Oil.
Buy 2, get 1 free.
At Dynovite.com.
DINOVITE.com.
Zencash is an end-to-end encrypted system with zero-knowledge technology over which communications, data, or value can be securely transmitted and stored. With over 7,500 secure nodes, Zencash has one of the most distributed node systems of any cryptocurrency. Zencash is a platform for cryptocurrency and communications built by voluntarists for voluntarists, with the ideas of voluntary interaction being written into the white paper no less than half a dozen times. Learn more at Zencash.com. That's Zencash.com.
This is Dan Pilla. Do you owe the IRS money you can't pay? Are tax debts crippling you? I've defended people from the IRS for over 30 years. I've helped thousands, and I can help you too. I wrote the book on IRS settlement, and I'm telling you, there's no such thing as a hopeless case. Call 800-34-NO-TAX to finally get free of IRS debt. With the IRS's new programs, there's never been a better time to solve your problem. Call 800-34-NO-TAX. That's 800-34-NO-TAX, or my website, danpilla.com.
Most of you know that heart disease is the #1 silent killer in the U.S. What if I told you for just $54.95 a month you could fight against heart disease naturally? At Heart and Body Extract, we've been helping thousands of people get back to a healthier heart. Don't just take my word for it. Check out all of the success stories at hbextract.com, or to order, call 866-295-5305. That's 866-295-5305. hbextract.com. Don't risk it when you can take charge of it.
Excuse me, is this where I get a license to start a new business?
I wouldn't be hasty. You have to get a license to go out of business, too, you know.
Oh, well, look, I've invented this little anti-gravity machine, see?
Oh, is that why you're walking 2 inches above the floor?
Oh, yes, it's very comfortable. It saves on shoe leather.
Yeah, well, you have to fill out these forms and report to the Human Services Department of Manpower Orientation and register with the Fair Employment Practice Commission, the Wage and Hour Division of the Employment Standards Administration, the State Sales and Income Tax Division, the Internal Revenue Service, and the Social Security Administration of the Department of Health, Education, and Welfare, and, of course, OSHA.
OSHA? I thought that was a little town in Wisconsin.
You'll find out. Say, floating around like that could be dangerous. Have you checked with the Consumer Product Safety Commission?
Well, not yet.
Come to think of it, you actually are flying, aren't you? Look, you need to go over to the Federal Aviation Administration and the Transportation...
It's very hard to get anything done these days if you're in business, but free enterprise built this country. Think what could happen if we don't keep it free. A public service of this station and the Center for the Defense of Free Enterprise, Bellevue, Washington.
We just can't have people floating about unregulated, you know.
Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster, so be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Dial in toll free. Join us here. Our number 855-450-FREE like freedom. Are you anti-California secession, pro-secession? So far, our calls tonight have been against, and from surprising corners. People who are against even the splitting of California have called the show tonight. So not to where California would leave from the United States, although that's one of the proposals. That's the so-called Calexit proposal. There's also the 3 Californias and the new California proposals, which would split California into 3 and or 2 different states within the United States. Even those have faced some serious opposition from some of this, what I would say would be unexpected places, like the red staters who would benefit directly from 3 different Californias. One of them called in to say he opposes the idea. So, it's going to be an interesting discussion that I think the people in California are having over the next few years as these different proposals hit the ballot, with the 3 California proposal going on the ballot purportedly later this year, the 2018 election. If you want to join us here, the toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. Liberty.menu is a directory of liberty-friendly businesses and also digital content and events listings. If you are a creator of content, if you are an events coordinator, if you're a business person who runs a business and you're a liberty-minded person, meaning that you reject the initiation of force and you agree to abide by the ethics of the non-aggression principle, then you qualify to have your business listed over at liberty.menu. It's a global map of pinpoints showing locations and then details on that business's page about what it is that'll allow other liberty-minded folks to find your business and hopefully give you their customership. You go to liberty.menu, you can get registered there. It's completely free to list whatever it is you want on the map there. Now, of course, if you want, you can pay for some upgrades to give the site some revenue, but ultimately it's a free site for you to use to list your liberty-friendly businesses. Go to liberty.menu, use code FTL if you want, and you'll get a special Free Talk Live listener badge on your account. That's liberty.menu. As we continue here talking about California's various different proposals for secession, the mainstream media, of course, in this case it's Abby Hamblin, one of the writers at the San Diego Union Tribune, is in multiple points in her relatively short article bad-mouthing the whole idea of secession, making it sound like this is not likely going to happen, and first of all, it's not likely to pass, and it's not likely to even make it on the ballot. It's not likely to be approved by Congress. I mean, and she's right. It does face a lot of hurdles.
There are hurdles, so therefore we shouldn't even discuss it. And if you discuss it, then you're a duty head and just go away.
Indeed, as their so-called expert from San Diego State University, Seth Kaplowitz, says, quote, "It would be ridiculous to secede from the Union." And then somebody else says in a different article that, well, they already settled that with the Civil War. And, there's all of these things are going to be trotted out again and again. And there's going to be a lot of fear-mongering. Of course, the old "they're going to roll in tanks" fear-mongering is going to come out. And I don't think that's likely. I don't think that it's likely that in today's information age when
they won't use tanks, they'll use Bearcats and drones.
I don't think they're going to, dude. I don't think that they're going to use that level of a show of force to stop a state from seceding. I hope that they don't. I don't believe that they will, because not only would the PR nightmare be very, very difficult to handle, but also you would have live streaming video of all of those things happening, and it would be undeniable that the U.S. government was killing their own.
Yeah, I think it's going to be difficult both to try and succeed and to also, if it were to be successful at that bid, for the government to come in, the federal government to come in and invade.
It seems very politically untenable.
Yeah, both of them.
I don't know, man.
Seem very challenging.
I just
where are they going to get the troops? Aren't they all over in another 1,000 military bases all around the world? I mean, how many of them are actually in the United States?
There's all kinds of National Guard across the country that they can activate, and all they've got to do is wind up causing an explosion on one of the military bases and saying, "Those secessionists blew up our base. They're all rebel scum. We've got to go exterminate."
Well, they could very well do that. Of course, the public position from the secessionists is that the bases would be allowed to stay, like Guantanamo Bay in Cuba. So when asked the question of, well, what about the military bases, their answer officially has been, well, it's fine. They can stay there. Go ahead, have your military base. We just want to be independent, politically independent. So I don't think that the fear should stop people from voting in favor of this, but it certainly will. It is going to be a factor. People are going to do the fear-mongering thing, and to me, if you are afraid that the federal government's going to invade your state after seceding, then that's all the more reason to support secession, because that indicates pretty crystal clear what you believe about the federal government. You believe they're violent thugs.
Secession is basically divorcing yourself from a violent spouse.
Yeah, absolutely. And in some of those cases, the violent spouse does get more violent. But in many cases, if you do leave, then that's
it's interesting. It's interesting to compare it to a violent spouse, because nobody. Maybe there are some people out there, but I can't imagine many anyway would in this day and age advocate for somebody not to leave their violent spouse.
Indeed.
It just seems egregious.
Right, but if you try leaving, they might kill the children. There are all kinds of reasons why people don't leave an abusive spouse.
I understand that, and they're usually excuses made by the spouse being abused. But as far from an outsider perspective, nobody's going to say that they shouldn't leave.
The outsiders can see it clearly.
Yeah.
That much.
A lot of times. Sometimes they don't.
So there's not much else here from the San Diego Tribune about this. They are working to collect nearly 366,000 signatures. They have until October 17th, so they've gotten the approval from the state to collect the signatures, and then once they collect those signatures, they'll be validated, and hopefully we'll get them on the ballot in the year 2020. This year, though, it's the 3 California proposal, which will split California into 3 different states. And Darryl, you wanted to talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, and I thought I recalled back in the early 90s there actually being a vote on California doing this, but apparently that never actually wound up being voted on.
Okay.
Article here from the MarinIJ.com. I don't see here what IJ stands for, but I'm guessing something journal. They talk about this 3 California proposal and say that a Bay Area venture capitalist, Tim Draper, is backing a ballot measure to divide California into 3 states, and said that he has more than enough signatures.
Yep.
They were turned in middle of April. And again, he turned in well over 600,000. They're being verified by California's Secretary of State. And he says, quote, "This is an unprecedented show of support on behalf of every corner of California to create 3 state governments that emphasize representation, responsiveness, reliability, and regional identity. The Cal 3 campaign, which is what they're calling the 3 California proposal,
Cal 3, okay.
Plans to deliver the signatures that were submitted from people from all 58 counties. Draper noted that's nearly twice as many as what is required by state law. Draper, who had a hand in investing in early stages of Tesla and Skype, back to 2014 proposal to turn the Golden State into 6 different states, but that failed to get the requisite number of signatures to get on the ballot.
Interesting.
So the 6 California didn't get the signatures, simplified to 3.
That got it.
Yes, and this is not the first time that there's been discussion of 3 Californias. So skipping over to a different article.
I know we've talked about it before.
Right. There's an article from Southern California Public Radio where they go over 7 of the more popular of the proposals to split California. Apparently, there have been over 220 efforts to divide the state in various ways. Since California became a territory and then a state. So in 1859, and this is the only time that Californians have actually voted on splitting the state, was 1859, something called the PICO Act. The early proposal got further than any others. It was pushed by Southern California residents who thought tax and land laws were unfair. It also attracted pro-slavery Confederate supporters. In 1859, the legislature approved the PICO Act, named after Assemblyman Andre Pico. The act called for the southern part of the state to be called the Colorado Territory. Note, at the time, the state of Colorado did not exist, so the name Colorado was not being used. The new state would have included the area from San Luis Obispo, Kern, and San Bernardino counties south. The governor signed the bill. 75% of voters in Southern California voted for the referendum. Congress needed to approve the measure, but the Civil War wound up causing them to get distracted and never actually acting on the PICO Act.
Wow.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that is amazing.
So it actually passed in California.
It passed.
All right, there's more coming up here in moments. You want to weigh in, you're welcome to 855-450 free. We're talking about the 3 California proposals going to be on the ballot later this year in 2018 in California to allow for 3 separate Californias to be formed from the existing 1. And what do you feel about that? How do you feel about it? The toll-free number here, 855-450 free if you want to join us. Hour number 3 is on the way. You can also take control of the airwaves.
It's about time something new came along for better selling and buying online. And I found it.
What now, Marge?
It's buysellmakeoffer.com.
Never heard of it.
It's a brand new company. That's why you've never heard of it. It's the newest and best way to sell any products online. I did all the research.
Sell my car?
Yes.
Our home?
Yep.
My golf bag?
Your golf clubs. All of them.
How about your purse collection hoard?
Hey, now.
You said any product.
Right. I did. We get 30 days free.
Really?
Packages starting from only $9.95. And buysellmakeoffer.com will never charge item fees, ever. Never. And this is cool. Listen to this. You can even use Skype or video to show your items.
That's cool.
Yes. All we have to do is go to the website, sign up, and then load our stuff to sell. I love this site.
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. You got it?
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. Better selling, better buying.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more.
Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Friday, May 4th, 2018. Silver is trading at $16.47 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,314 per ounce. Zencash is trading at $40, and the average price of Bitcoin is $9,628. Antiwar.com reports the U.S. military is more deeply involved in the Saudi war in Yemen than officials ever admitted. In fact, new evidence suggests the Pentagon lied to Congress during the March debate about U.S. involvement, presenting the U.S. role at present being limited to targeting and mid-air refueling of Saudi warplanes. The New York Times is reporting there are actually a small number of U.S. special forces on the ground at the Saudi border with Yemen. Those troops have not only been on the ground since late 2017, but are there on a mission to help the Saudi military fight Yemen's Shiite Houthi movement. No public debate ever took place with respect to this deployment. Indeed, the Pentagon appears to have gone to great lengths not to tell the American public or Congress about the Green Berets they sent to the border. The Green Berets are intended to help the Saudis locate and destroy Houthi missiles and attack Houthi missile launch sites inside Yemen. This has been going on despite the Trump administration telling Congress that America's involvement in Yemen was purely non-combat, and again despite the Pentagon repeatedly saying that America's sole involvement in Yemen was logistical and support for the air war. Senator Tim Kaine of Virginia said the Pentagon was deliberately blurring the lines between train and equip missions and combat. It is unclear from the report from the New York Times if the U.S. troops crossed into Yemen, but given that their mission was to target Houthi sites, it seems almost certain that they have. CENTCOM Commander General Joseph Votel, during the March debate, did say he had authorization to help the Saudis defend their border. At that time, however, he told the Senate that this was being done purely through intelligence sharing and military advice. Clearly, it also involved physical U.S. troops on the border. It remains to be seen what the consequences of the Pentagon's deception will be domestically. At the very least, it seems like this could provide a new pretext for a vote on ending U.S. involvement in the Yemen war, as Congress lacked all the information they needed to have an informed vote in March. For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. And as a Bitcoin-preferred business, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports Twitter encouraged all of its users to change their passwords on Thursday after discovering a bug that caused passwords to be stored without proper encryption. The social media platform discovered a bug that caused user passwords to be stored in an internal log without going through a process known as hashing, in which password characters are replaced with a random set of numbers and letters. Twitter's chief technology officer wrote in a blog post, "Due to a bug, passwords were written to an internal log before completing the hashing process. We found this error ourselves, removed the passwords, and are implementing plans to prevent this bug from happening again." The CTO said the bug had been fixed and an investigation showed there was no indication of breach or misuse by anyone. He still encouraged users to change their passwords out of an abundance of caution, and Twitter pushed a pop-up window to users explaining the bug and including a link to the settings page. Bitcoin Not Bombs is a launching pad for nonprofits and social entrepreneurs into the financial freedom of the Bitcoin economy. Bitcoin Not Bombs offers premium publicity campaigns designed to facilitate an organization's adoption of Bitcoin as a payment system and to fully capitalize on that decision in their fundraising efforts. Bitcoin Not Bombs is fully committed to being the hub of the nonprofit sector of the Bitcoin economy, maximizing the potential cross-promotion of all our clients and commercial partners. To learn more, visit bitcoinnotbombs.com. Reuters reports the Republican-controlled Oklahoma legislature approved an adoption measure on Thursday that critics say discriminates against same-sex couples, non-Christians, and single parents. The bill would allow faith-based adoption agencies, including those that receive public funding, to turn away would-be parents on the basis of their marital status or religion and religious beliefs. Supporters of the bill said the legislation would open the door for more child placement partnerships. The State House of Representatives approved the bill by a vote of 56 to 21 without discussion or debate, despite vocal objections by the Democratic caucus. Earlier in the day, the Senate passed the bill by a vote of 33 to 7. Opponents of the bill could mount a legal challenge. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
According to a groundbreaking study on anxiety disorders published this week in the New England Journal of Medicine, researchers have discovered that feelings of anxiety can be completely resolved as long as people think about them real hard.
After studying subjects with mild to chronic anxiety disorders, we found that the best way to overcome mental stress is to isolate the root of the anxiety, analyze it from every possible angle, and then think about it nonstop until it completely disappears.
Researchers worked with numerous subjects in the middle of high-stress scenarios and said the key to overcoming anxiety is to start by focusing on a minor problem, list everything that can go wrong in the worst-case scenario, and then repeat that list in your head 200 times. After anywhere between 3 to 6 hours of perpetually torturing yourself over things outside of your control, all feelings of anxiety will completely disappear, and you can finally enjoy the remainder of your day.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can bring up whatever you want here. Take control of the airwaves. The toll-free number is 855-450, free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We are still in the midst of secession talk. A lot of us on Free Talk Live happen to be fans of the idea, but you had asked earlier, Chris, how could anybody who's a libertarian oppose secession? Our very own co-host here, Mark Edge, he's not on the show tonight, but he has made the argument against secession, not only because of the fear-mongering of...
Ever? Or just for now?
You'll have to ask him that, but I don't want to put too many words in his mouth here, but my understanding of his objections are the fear-mongering surrounding, the potential for invasion or the potential to be cut off, for instance. So, like if they're not going to invade, they could blockade New Hampshire's port or something like that, right? Like to prevent products from leaving.
That's not unlikely in the short term, but in the long term, usually countries that go their separate ways don't get blocked off forever. I mean, trade is in the interest of, or would be in the interest of, the federal government still. So you would think that they would want to get back up and operational as quickly as possible.
Well, I mean, the reason why they'd be blockading would be to get you back into the Union as quickly as possible.
Yeah, I mean, theoretically, right? But once they've realized that it's not going to work,
how long is that going to take? Does everybody in the given landmass need to die or flee? How long would a blockade of California last before the U.S. government stopped blockading?
It would be harder to do to California, though, right? Because it's a much larger place. They've got a whole lot more waterfront than New Hampshire. But in New Hampshire, you wouldn't have to block much port at all,
Right, but even during the Civil War, the U.S. military was able to blockade all of the ports in the Confederacy, and that was a lot more coastline than what California has.
Good point.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly nothing saying that they wouldn't be successful in blockading you, right?
Well, that makes it so it's hard to get food, right? Like unless everything's being grown within New Hampshire, and there's a lot of time in New Hampshire where you can't grow anything.
Yeah, I mean, certainly nobody said it would be easy. And there are, fortunately in the case of New Hampshire, and I don't know, California, I guess theoretically would be the case too. There are other borders. There's Mexico, and in New Hampshire, there's the Canada border.
That's true.
So, I mean, now, who knows? Canada might cooperate with the U.S. and also
They generally do.
Yeah. So, who knows what would happen.
But then again, Canada does provide asylum for people who seek it in a lot of cases coming from the United States. So.
And they also don't have a blockade against Cuba.
Good point. But those are some of the objections, right? That are brought up. They usually have to do with fear, or even if the blockade doesn't happen, the fear would be that the U.S. would put up other sorts of trade barriers to where they'd build a wall around New Hampshire or make it hard for New Hampshire people to do business or
New
travel.
Hampshire is small, but it ain't that small if you try to build a wall around it.
That's true, and that would inconvenience a lot of people who work in Massachusetts. A lot of people live in New Hampshire but work in the neighboring state of Massachusetts. A lot of people travel to Boston, for instance, for their jobs, and so would that make it untenable for those people to stay in New Hampshire? Would they feel like they have to leave? Would there be a lot of opposition from the people opposition to secession from those workers who feel as though secession would make their jobs and their lives that much more difficult if they have to cross? I mean, there are people who cross the national border every single day to go to work on the southern border, so it's not unprecedented, but it's certainly inconvenient for those people. To deal with that. So these are some of the objections of, the government could make life either deadly or inconvenient.
And I'm guessing in northern Vermont and northern New York and probably Detroit, there are people that cross from the U.S. into Canada daily.
Yeah, and their job makes it worth it to them to sit in a line twice a day or whatever to do that sort of thing. But many people aren't going to want to do that, and that would be their reason for opposing.
I don't think anybody. I guess there are people who are delusional, but I don't think any. I am not delusional of the mindset that it's going to be easy, right? Like, I don't think anybody thinks that secession is an easy thing to do. Yes. Nobody wants to go to
There are some people.
The military-industrial complex, sure, they want to go to war, but I think your average.
There are even a lot of chicken hawk types that they want other people to go to war. They don't want to do it themselves, but they love the concept of just blowing people up because freedom.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't think people generally want to go to war with each other, and it just doesn't seem like it would be in the best interests of either party. So I think at the end of the day, you're probably secession. I think probably the best route for secession is more of a political one than a military one.
Now, I'm curious if the Calexit thing actually does make it onto the ballot. One of the discussions that is inevitably going to happen, and thus far has not, to my knowledge, happened. What are the athletes going to say? So the people that play professional football or professional baseball, are they going to object to it? Because, now every time we go on a road trip, we're going to have to cross international borders. Every time we have home games, the other teams are going to have to cross international borders.
Would they even qualify? Because like the National Football League, don't you have to be in the United States for that?
I don't know what the NFL rules are. I know
baseball, they have some Canadian teams, right?
They have one. They used to have two.
Okay.
I know the NFL has played some games outside of the United States, but all of the teams are in the United States. The NHL, which is National Hockey League, they've got a bunch of Canadian teams.
Well, of course, most of the football players or the sports players they're not from California, right? They live there at the moment because they're on that team at that moment.
Right, but the thing is, they would then, like I say, if they're living in California, we go on a road trip, all right, now we've got to cross international borders to go play Arizona.
Are you wondering how they'll feel because they're going to influence people? Because people care about what sports players say? Because otherwise, who cares?
Well,
what they
it's
think?
not just the sports player, but the owners are going to come in with decisions. And there was even, when we were discussing the change to Atlantic Standard Time that wound up passing in Florida, there was some sports writer that was arguing against the proposal because it's going to goof up Monday Night Football.
Right.
You know what we've never talked about, at least I don't think anybody's talked about, maybe there have been, but not
the porn industry in California?
No, is autonomy. What, as opposed to, full independence, what about autonomy? I mean, take baby steps, right? Like, could we
So what do you mean?
Support?
You mean like nullification, where they just say no to the federal government?
Or are you talking about something kind of like what Micronesia has, to where they are independent and free association, meaning that there are certain things that the U.S. government does for the people of Micronesia, but they are independent.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly don't even really know what that means. But I know there's certain places in Spain that were basically run independently, or in other places around the world. They're not fully independent, but they have more control.
You mean like a
over
free
their...
trade carve-out zone, one of those things?
No. He's talking about prior to Catalonia declaring independence, Catalonia had a certain level of autonomy.
I see, yeah.
And to some extent, the United States is supposed to be 50 autonomous places under one central government.
Right. I mean, it's essentially the idea is reverting back to what the country was supposed to be originally in the first place.
Oh, so getting the federal government to abide by the Constitution?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, that's never going to happen.
Well, I mean, I think maybe talking about phrasing things in a different context there would be more support for that as opposed to
the word secession
or
how about we just abolish the federal government and then we have 50 different independent countries.
Magic wand,
but
we'll get started on that tonight.
If you're going to have a more realistic hope or chance of some improvement in terms of freedoms and so forth,
right,
there are probably going to be more people in support of...
But maybe this Calexit thing is going to wind up leading to some level of autonomy from the federal government. Because you always ask, when you go to negotiation, you ask for more than what you think you're going to get.
That's true.
Let's continue here. Your calls and thoughts. Toll-free number 855-450, free like freedom, 855-450-3733. Piece from the Sonoma News seems to be in favor of Calexit. We'll explain coming up. Free Talk Live.
What's more profitable, running your business or doing bookkeeping? Doing your business, of course, but you want to keep your books so that you can maximize your tax savings, right? What if I told you that there's a person that's a bookkeeper, accountant, and law school graduate that's also a hardcore libertarian?
My name is Melanie Johnson, and I hate the state. I will aggressively help you to minimize your tax exposure and maximize profits, all while staying within the law.
Melanie's your best choice for your taxes and bookkeeping needs. Go to tax.freetalklive.com and check out our website, tax.freetalklive.com.
The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful, full-featured wallet that allows you to send and receive Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Core with anyone, anywhere in the world. It supports both single and multi-signature wallets and is available in multiple languages. Use the Bitcoin.com wallet to buy, send, store, and receive both Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Core. Learn more at wallet.bitcoin.com.
Mother's Day sneaks up and we hit the panic button. We get suckered into online flower giants pitching $19.99 flowers that end up costing $60. Or we grab last-minute produce department flowers that smell oddly of green onions. That tells Mom you don't care enough to send flowers from the Books. That's short for bouquets, and they're booking awesome. Books flowers are as unique and special as your mom. They're freshly cut from Books farms, delivered straight to your mom, so they'll last weeks, not days. Books even has farms located on the side of a volcano that produce flowers so gorgeous, Mom will post pics of them and brag about you. And because Books cut out the middlemen, you'll get amazingly fresh cut flowers at an amazing price. Show Mom how much you care. Send her artisan design flowers from the Books. Order today and get an extra 15% off when you enter FTL. That's BOUQS.com, and remember to enter FTL to save an extra 15%. Books.com.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at shiresociety.com. That's shiresociety.com. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
Hi, this is Mark Edge of Free Talk Live. Michael W. Dean's book, User's Manual for the Human Experience, changed my life. In a culture that attempts to turn you into a compliant victim, this book gives you implementable steps on everything from how to be aware of your environment, walking down the street, to business, to how to handle a toxic person in your life. If you're a human, you need to read this book at least once. Go to Amazon and get the Kindle version, or paperback, or an audiobook of A User's Manual for the Human Experience.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. You may dial toll free to join us on the radio. Our number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. And Skype username LRN.FM. It is almost Mother's Day. Not quite. Still got another solid week beforehand. But if you want to get your flowers delivered to Mom before Mother's Day, you should probably get moving and get over to the Books at BOUQS.com and get your order in so you can have it arrive maybe Thursday or Friday prior to, because I don't believe Sunday delivery is available at this point, or I don't know if it ever was. But at this point, it certainly is not, because, Darryl, you went through the process. I also had gone through the process as well, ordered some flowers for my mother today from Books.com. Books is short for bouquets, and they are booking awesome. As you will see there, and your mom will be super happy about it, because Books has some quality flowers coming from around the planet, including farms on the side of a volcano that produce flowers so gorgeous your mom will post pics of them and brag about you. Books also cuts out the middlemen, so you get amazingly fresh flowers at an amazing price. You can show your mom how much you care and send her artisan designed flowers from the Books. You can order today and get 15% off when you enter code FTL, like Free Talk Live. That's BOUQS.com. And remember code FTL to save an extra 15%. And by the way, the shipping cost is not going to kill you with the Books, which is nice. I think it was cut in half by default on the site. So before any code was even entered, the shipping was like $9 for the flowers that I was looking at.
Okay.
So not an outrageous amount to ship fresh flowers to your mom. Go to Books.com, BOUQS.com, and use code FTL for that 15% off. All right, so we've been talking about secession here on Free Talk Live tonight, specifically California and the various different proposals that are on the table. We talked about Calexit, the idea of California leaving the United States entirely. There's also the 3 California proposal, which will be on the ballot this year, where Californians will be able to vote on splitting the state into 3 different states, but unfortunately would still need approval by Congress.
Correct.
And that's a big question, is even if they can get over these hurdles of getting it on the ballot in the first place and then getting the people of California to vote for it. And do you happen to know, Darryl, I know you've got the story about the 3 California in front of you. Do you know if the ballot process requires 51% for approval, or is this a special 2/3 thing because it's secession related? Do you know?
Well, this is not secession. This would be splitting the state.
Okay. It's kind of secession-y, though. I mean,
kind of on one hand
they're
is
seceding from California.
Right. So you've got parts of the state that are seceding from the state, but they're not seceding from the federal government.
But which
it doesn't say what the threshold is.
But what's the real California then?
Real California?
I mean, so which is the California that they're seceding from?
They're all
each of them can claim to be California.
They are going to all claim to be California.
No.
There's
Northern
Southern,
California,
and California.
California, and South California.
Sounds like they're all claiming to be California.
They're all California.
Yeah.
Right.
even after
Okay.
the fact.
So North Carolina and South Carolina are both Carolina, and there is no such thing as Carolina because Carolina
But
is
do
Carolina.
the North Carolina people dislike the South Carolina people, and do the South Carolina people dislike the North Carolina
Some of 'em.
people? Right. There's probably some kind of rivalry
I
there.
could see if there's
Just like the North Dakota people.
If there's a small part succeeding from California, then I would be like, yeah, okay, it's sort of secession. But it's not. It's like just dividing it. Like
Right,
They're
it's
still seceding
dividing. They're
from-
seceding from the existing California state government and creating new state government.
They're just all seceding at once, so there won't be a California government remaining after that, or at least not one that resembles the original one. So,
I mean, I guess you could sort of say it's a peaceful, like a peaceful succession. But which one's succeeding from which? Like
They're
three
all
at once.
seceding at once.
Yeah.
So again, the
dissolving,
dividing
it's more of a
lines
dissolving.
here.
Yeah. I think that's
well,
definitely
it's not
a better way to-
dissolving because one of the places retains the name California, or at
True.
least that's the proposal. And as it's written, Tim Draper does specify that each new state would wind up being responsible for when they create their governing documents, they would get to choose a name for themselves.
Oh, so the ballot proposal does not necessarily mean that those would be the names for those areas. That's
correct.
just the
so
pre-name
Northern
would be
California could wind up becoming
Jefferson.
Yeah. Southern California could become Empire because
Yeah.
it's called like the Inland, Empire.
Okay.
And
They already have an empire state, but yes, I see what you're saying.
Right. So again, California would be the smallest of the three proposed states, would include Los Angeles County, span north to the Monterey area, but exclude most of the inland region currently considered Southern California.
Mm-hmm.
Northern California would be San Francisco and everything north to Oregon. Southern California would be Orange County and lands up to Fresno County and south to
Basically,
the
south and
U.S.-Mexico border.
Basically, the southern and northern portions are huge, and then there's this. The proposal for California is just a small strip on the
Right.
On the
So
coast.
like L.A.
The most populated.
I was gonna say, but that's the most populated part, right?
Right.
So.
And that's the part that has a large influence in the California legislature today because of its population.
Right. So getting back into the article here, it says that creating two new states would add 4 members to the U.S. Senate, 2 from each of the new states. And that might not sit well with some of the people in flyover country who already feel like California has too much influence in Congress.
But the idea would be that Southern California would be more of a red state, so it's likely that that would actually add Republicans to Congress.
Correct, but Northern California would probably add Democrats, and then you're asking Republicans to wind up, all right, Republicans, do you want more Democrats in Congress? And they're probably not going to go for it.
Is the Northern California portion not mostly red as well? Like as you get closer to Oregon, it gets more red, doesn't it?
Well, as they're dividing here,
But
San
Francisco's in
Francisco
there,
and
yeah.
Sacramento would be in there.
Which is
and
pretty lefty.
They're more densely populated than
Right.
the rest of Northern California. Continuing on, Draper argues that the Cal 3 proposal would solve many of California's most pressing issues, including the state's failing school systems, the highest in the nation tax rates, deteriorating infrastructure, and strained government, by allowing regional communities to make decisions for their citizens. He says the unanimous support for Cal 3 from all 58 of California's counties to reach this unprecedented milestone in the legislative process is the signal that across California we are united behind Cal 3 to create a brighter future for everyone.
Now, I wonder what he means when he says unanimous support, because obviously there's not unanimous support for
Right.
this.
What he's saying is because during the petitioning process, they got signatures from every county. So there's not a county where people didn't sign the petition.
Well, duh. Of course you're going to be able to find somebody to sign a petition everywhere.
Right, but not every petition that makes it onto the ballot do they wind up going into every county to gather signatures.
Because they don't have to.
Right, because you can sit out in a parking lot in L.A., San Diego, San Francisco, and
get
wind
way
up
more.
getting all of your signatures without going into Kern County and walking past cow fields.
And Draper is the billionaire or whatever who's funding the petition drive.
There's a Democratic political consultant who's not happy with the proposal.
Good. That's as you would expect. There's a lot of people who are going to oppose this on both sides. unfortunately, because we would love for secession to become more popular, but the only way it's ever going to is for people to talk about it and propose it and answer the objections. And so we got that coming back here in moments on Free Talk Live.
This is Fred.
Hi, I'm Fred.
Fred's a repeater.
I tend to repeat.
Fred has a business.
I do have a business.
And a problem. Fred repeats the same tired advertising over and over, and now it doesn't work.
Over and over.
But Fred is about to see a vision.
I'm seeing a vision.
Advertising on the Genesis Communications Network is the smart way for Fred to reach his potential customers with the most affordable national advertising rates, period. Get started today with GCN, the Genesis Communications Network. Just email advertise@gcnlive.com.
Healthcare reform is confusing. With the loss of the Obamacare mandate, those needing help can now choose an affordable alternative. By joining Liberty HealthShare, you're part of a community of health-conscious Americans all over the country who control their own healthcare costs and choices. Liberty HealthShare is not insurance. It is an association of self-pay patients who unite with like-minded people to share the cost of their medical needs. Neighbor helping neighbor. Learn more now by going to libertyoncall.org. That's libertyoncall.org.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project early movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
Did you know that Free Aid is a mutual aid, educational, and networking organization? At Free Aid, we support volunteers who provide first aid. We do outreach to the public about health and safety, and we bring together medically skilled freedom lovers. Free Aid is made possible by your generous support. Donors can receive great gifts like first aid kits, t-shirts, silver dime cards, and hoodies. The Free Aid Silver Dime Card Project is sponsored in part by Roberts & Roberts Brokerage, Freedom's Phoenix, and Don't Tread on Meme. Visit fr33aid.com.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
When commercials come on, don't push the button. Instead, listen. Even if you don't sell things for a living, you're still selling in the various conversations and transactions that make up your busy day. With money and attention so scarce now, effective communication skills have never been more important, especially if you're a job seeker. So take a lesson from Madison Avenue. Often the fewer words, the more effective the message. Like Jiffy Lube, where you never need an appointment, or the Office Max ad that says, you supply the ambition, we supply everything else. How about online ticket broker StubHub.com, the way in when it's sold out, or CyberCupid Match.com's seductive, go ahead, it's okay to look. How cleverly and succinctly can you distill your message? For more tips, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. Dial on in here toll free. Bring up whatever's on your mind. Our number is 855-450. Free like freedom. 855-450-3733. We are heavy on the secessionist talk, but you don't have to talk about what we're talking about to get on the air with us here on Free Talk Live. With you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
And Chris.
And Darryl.
Also, do want to make sure that you know about $6 shirts. You want to get some awesome shirts. In fact, you've got one of them on right now.
I do.
Darryl, the Free Folk Wildlings, North of the Wall. This is a reference to
Game of Thrones reference.
Game of Thrones show. So they've got all kinds of pop culture shirts there.
You were wearing one
shirts.
earlier today. The fire, ice, weather, something.
Yeah, the
Fifth Element.
I was wearing a Fifth Element shirt. In fact, I was looking for it before the show, but I don't know where I put it. So, I'll get it back eventually once I find it. But $6shirts.com. They've got pop culture, video games, sports related, all kinds of different subjects and categories.
Cryptocurrencies.
They've got an incredible. That's right. They got great Bitcoin shirts there. They got a great selection, and some of them are pretty funny. So check it out over at $6shirts.com. The number $6shirts.com. Liberty friendly guy running the business over there. So keep that in mind and get your shirts from people that care about freedom. $6shirts.com. Use code FTL. You'll get 10% off. They're already shockingly affordable prices for very, very cool shirts, and they accept Bitcoin when you're purchasing there. $6shirts.com, code FTL, like Free Talk Live. Let's go to Xavier. He's on the line in Georgia. Xavier, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, what's on your mind tonight?
Well, I was really trying to figure out what is the station down here in Savannah.
We do not have an affiliate in Savannah, Georgia, unfortunately. At least not that I'm aware of. If somebody's running a pirate station, that's awesome. But to my knowledge, there is nothing in that area.
Oh, man, because I've been trying to, after I got out, I haven't been able to really listen to you guys, so.
Right, you used to listen to us while you were in state prison there in Georgia, and now that you've moved to a different area, you're not able to hear us on the radio. This is definitely a problem we would like to solve. We would love to be on more radio stations around the country. We actually just hit a new record recently of 185, actually as of today, 188.
Oh, wow.
188 stations carrying Free Talk Live across the United States. And there are a couple others that are sort of out there right now that we haven't officially been able to announce yet, but I'm hoping to be able to announce them within the next couple of weeks. So, but none of those are in Savannah, unfortunately. So your best bet would be if you are in an area that does not have talk radio carrying Free Talk Live, to contact the local talk radio stations in your area, talk to the program director if you can, and ask him or her to add Free Talk Live to the station. It's probably not going to change things overnight, but at the very least, they are going to hear about us, and then they might consider us.
WTKS is one of the stations in Savannah. They don't currently carry us, but
that's an iHeartMedia station.
I've actually got a scheduled call with that program director on Monday.
Cool. Has he listened to the show?
He has listened previously, yes.
Okay, good. So, yeah, it takes time, though, Xavier. These stations, radio stations, are not known for moving quickly on things. They, it's an old business. They're pretty comfortable. They're pretty set in their ways. And, 99 times out of 100 when you call a station, they're not looking for a new show. They've got 24 hours a day of programming. If they didn't, they'd have dead air. So,
right.
They've got what they want most of the time. It's every now and then you'll call one of them up and they'll be considering making a change.
Right, and there's another station in Savannah. I'm not going to give the call letters out of that one, where the last time I spoke with him, he said, yeah, I don't really put any effort into the talk station. It is what it is.
That's interesting.
Let me guess. That's the Cumulus station in town, and they probably have their music program director handling the talk station.
I don't have it marked whether it's iHeart or Cumulus or something else.
Yeah. So it's hard, man. It's hard to get on these stations. It takes in a lot of cases, many months, if not years, before you
quick
can
search. Yeah, it's Cumulus.
Yeah. So and so that's something you'll see happen, where in these big station groups, the program director of the AM is generally one of the FM program directors, and they've sort of saddled him or her with handling the AM.
Yeah.
They're not their first priority.
Corporate tells us what to run. We only run that, and there might be some brokered programming.
We just lost his call. I don't know what happened there, Xavier. If you had more to say, you're welcome to call back, because normally our rule is one call per night, but if there's a technical difficulty, we'll usually bring you back in. But this is what you and I do, Darryl. We contact talk radio stations on behalf of Free Talk Live, and first we have to introduce them to the show. Many of them have never even heard of us, even though we've been out there in night times for over a decade in syndication at this point, almost a decade and a half.
15 years.
Yeah, very, very soon we'll be at 15 years. There are still program directors who don't even know that we exist. And that's because, we're not a big show. Even though we've got 188 stations,
right.
In the scheme of things, we're still not on in most of the major markets on major talk stations. So even though it's 188, there's still mostly smaller markets.
Right. But if we did math the way a lot of the big stations do, we've been added in well over 300 markets, probably approaching 400.
It's 400, I think, at least over the whole time. But yeah, that would only count the numbers that we've been added to, not all the ones we've been removed from. And that's not because we're a bad show. It's some cases because the stations just go off the air, they change formats, go to music format and just leave talk radio entirely, or change from news talk into a sports talker. So over time you lose some. But the fact is we still have 188 that are currently airing the show, and we know that because we call them regularly. So it's not like once a station just adds Free Talk Live, we never talk to them again.
Right.
We're on the phone with them at least a few times a year just to touch base with the program director and be good customer service providers.
Right.
And it's interesting that many of those stations will actually compliment us, and they'll say, we never hear from Rush Limbaugh. We never hear from Glenn Beck. We never hear from any
They never hear from anybody that works for them at all. Not just like we don't hear from
the
Rush.
host. Yeah, they don't. We don't hear from the affiliate guy.
Their people.
Right. They just once they get them on, it's a done deal for those other shows, and they don't even do anything with them. But we like to call our stations just to keep in touch and do good customer service. So that's why we were able to retain as many as we are. So if you want to hear more from Free Talk Live in local talk radio, besides calling your local talk stations, you can also fund the AMP program at amp.freetalklive.com. That's money that helps fund outreach to talk radio. We run talk radio advertising within the talk business. And we're actually looking at doing some internet outreach, kind of kindling that, because we haven't done any of that in a while. And I don't mean advertising on Facebook. We're looking at advertising on some other venues, which we shouldn't say what yet, because we haven't got anything on the table yet for agreements. But that's being worked on.
Plus, there's the Talkers convention thing
that's
coming up early June.
A month away. Yeah, that's 1 month away. So go to amp.freetalklive.com. You can help fund the outreach behind the scenes here at Free Talk Live and get cool perks like access to the AMP-only call-in lines, the AMP-only podcast, which doesn't have the normal commercials our regular podcast does, and other cool AMP-only features like the AMP-only Discord chats and the AMP-only Facebook group. So it's, again, ampamp.freetalklive.com. So we've been talking a lot about the Yes California campaign, the Calexit, also now the Three Californias. And
they're calling Cal 3.
Cal 3. You were going to give us a quote from some Democrat who is in opposition to this.
Stephen Maviglio, a longtime Democratic Party political consultant who helped lead the effort to oppose Draper's 6 California proposal, said there's no formal Cal 3 opposition group yet, though he and other critics have discussed doing so. Maviglio,
they're waiting till it makes the ballot, and it hopefully will.
Right. Maviglio called Cal 3, quote, a colossal waste of time, end quote, and said putting it on the ballot would mark a sad day for the initiative process.
Okay.
Wow.
Why?
Quote, the notion that smaller is beautiful has not played out with any foundation in facts, noting that Rhode Island and the District of Criminals are regularly criticized for mismanagement.
True.
And the practical aspect of splitting up the Golden State's parks, prisons, schools, universities, power grid, and water supply are daunting. Maviglio said, it's completely unworkable and ridiculous. It's kind of a shame with so many important issues facing the state that this wacky idea might actually appear on the ballot.
Just keep insulting people because that's all they got.
I fail to see how it is that dividing a state into 3 sections would somehow magically make it such that you can't cooperate on certain issues.
Rhode
while
Island's
still having
small,
independent.
and they're corrupt.
That's
so
true.
Smaller versions of California would also be corrupt.
Wow.
So we need a giant corrupt California.
Yeah.
The argument certainly doesn't follow, but they're going to make a lot of them. 855-450-FREE.
What's more profitable, running your business or doing bookkeeping? Doing your business, of course, but you want to keep your books so that you can maximize your tax savings, right? What if I told you that there's a person that's a bookkeeper, accountant, and law school graduate that's also a hardcore libertarian?
My name is Melanie Johnson, and I hate the state. I will aggressively help you to minimize your tax exposure and maximize profits, all while staying within the law.
Melanie's your best choice for your taxes and bookkeeping needs. Go to tax.freetalklive.com and check out our website, tax.freetalklive.com.
The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful, full-featured wallet that allows you to send and receive Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Core with anyone, anywhere in the world. It supports both single and multi-signature wallets and is available in multiple languages. The Bitcoin.com wallet is available on Windows, Linux, Mac, Android, and iOS devices. Learn more at wallet.bitcoin.com.
I tried other brands, but I came back to my Sunshine.
For the best hot or cold pain relief, get the best. Get a Sunny Bay heating pad.
Sometimes life can be a pain in the neck or back or shoulder.
And the best relief for that pain is a Sunny Bay heating pad. Did you know that the American College of Physicians said that one of the best ways to treat muscle pain is heat therapy? Sunny Bay heating pads are handmade with high quality, can be used at home or at work, and have a lifetime 100% positive rating on both Amazon and Etsy.
Why take another pill?
Many people use our Sunny Bay heating pads alone and got rid of the neck pain.
Long distance travel or long hours in front of a computer can take its toll on your body.
See why our homegrown small business at sunny-bay.com has tried to help people just like you. Get your Sunny Bay heating pads at sunny-bay.com. That's sunny-bay.com or call 253-678-1361 for hot and cold therapy. sunny-bay.com.
Free Talk Live.
Well, I'm a working police officer. I'm actually on duty in a small town in Central Texas. I've been doing this job 10 years. 99% of what you guys talk about is dead on. We got guys getting into this profession just to wear a badge and play God. It's getting worse and worse. There used to be a couple of decent guys that I worked with. Both of them have quit.
Why did they quit?
It's because of the BS. We can't help the people that actually need help, which is what you get into this job to do if you're a good person.
It's interesting that whenever honest cops call in like you, we get the same story, that the corruption rises through the ranks, that the good guys, the guys like you that got in to make a difference and actually help people and catch the real bad guys, the guys like you end up getting frustrated by the system, frustrated by the corruption and the bureaucracy, and they end up quitting, which of course means that more bad guys can move in and move up through the ranks. Is anything inaccurate about that?
No, sir. That's my point entirely.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. Facebook.freetalklive.com. Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Moments remain. Enough time for you if you want to join us now. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. And we've got Skype. Skype username here is lrn.fm. Plus, there's the Discord on-air call-in line room over at discord.lrn.fm. In fact, I just noticed that we have a caller in there. I don't know how long he's been waiting. Stefan, are you there?
Yeah.
All right. Have you been waiting too long? I hope not.
Oh, no. It's fine. I've been enjoying hearing you guys talk about this Cal 3 proposal, which...
Yeah.
Honestly, I have no idea why people have high hopes for this thing. It is never going to happen for a variety of reasons.
Why so negative? Go ahead.
I'm negative because polling indicates that it is deeply unpopular. This proposal has like 20% support. Not to mention, after they decide to split up, they would have to get the Congress to ratify the new states.
It's a challenge. There's no doubt about it. But
I didn't realize there was any polling on this yet.
Yeah, that's good news to me. 1 out of 5 people supporting a secession plan right out the gate without even having the opportunity to really have a discussion, statewide discussion about it, I think is a good starting point.
Well, on one hand, I see where a lot of people come from. There are a lot of people that think, hey, California has this monopoly in politics because it's all filthy liberals, and we need to break it up and give the conservatives in California more of a voice. But I don't see how splitting the state into 3 is really going to help that, because if you look at these regions based on the previous few presidential elections, it still would have overwhelmingly had Democratic support, except for, I believe, Northern California, which would have gone to Romney by 1 point.
Okay. Darryl was saying the Southern California looked to be like a mostly red zone, too. You're saying that's not the case when you actually run the numbers?
San Diego and San Bernardino at one point were more Republican strongholds, but nowadays it seems like more up north is where the majority of conservative support is.
San Bernardino's mayor is Republican, and if you look at the congressional districts, most of the Republican congressmen from California are in that what's called the Inland Empire area.
So, Stefan, do you think that the proposal for California to just secede as a whole state, to leave the United States, do you think that's more or less likely to succeed than the Triple California proposal?
Obviously, it would be far more complicated, because then they would be leaving the union as a whole, which the Congress would never allow to happen on the federal level. This is a very difficult proposal to put through. Is it far more likely than California seceding as a whole? Of course it is.
Wait, so you're saying the 3-state version is more likely than the full?
Easier.
Okay. But you still think either one of them is completely untenable?
Yeah, and there's been a movement for Southern Oregon and Northern California since I think the 1930s to break off for the state of Jefferson.
Right.
And that's been in limbo for decades.
And I'm actually looking at a website right now called Ballotpedia.
Yep.
And somebody did the actual math from both the 2012 and 2016 elections. And based on what the actual votes were during those elections, Northern California overwhelmingly went for Obama, as did what's proposed as California. Proposed Southern California very narrowly went Obama.
Like 1 point.
So 49.13 to 48.5. And then in 2016, Clinton wound up winning all of the 3 proposed Californias, just barely getting over 51% in 2016, Trump getting just under 42%.
Now, I do think that there is a small possibility of it happening. To anybody listening, I'm not like a total naysayer. I'm not saying, oh, this is just this is never going to happen. I'm just saying, much like getting a libertarian elected to any office ever, the odds are very slim. And
so no doubt. I got a question for you. So what do you think about the UK and Europe?
Them seceding from the European Union?
Yeah, I don't know if you could call it quite that, but yeah, sure.
It's not quite the same thing, because that would be like a country leaving the United Nations in a way. The European Union is just, an agreement that all the countries in Europe, chose to abide by. I think every country in Europe except for, I think the former Soviet countries and Switzerland.
Yeah, but there was the same naysaying before the Brexit vote. There was the same negativity, the same, it can't happen, or people won't support this. There was a lot of naysaying.
And I'm not sure if the
polls didn't show support for it.
See the difference. I mean, are the states not, and did the states not have a civil war? I mean,
well, there was an agreement with the states too, right? That's what the Constitution is.
The U.S. federal government was created by agreement of 13 state governments.
I think you bring up a good point, because that we could see something like, Brexit, but that was very narrow in of itself. And I'm not necessarily sure how the polls were conducted in California. I believe it was only one I had seen. I'm not sure how many had been conducted.
Ballotpedia lists that one poll that was done by Survey USA, where they had a sample size of 916 people. They've got a margin of error of plus or minus 3.6%, with 72% listed as opposing, 17% in support, 10% undecided.
I wonder if those were...
I don't think the Brexit polls were that far apart.
I think you're right about that. They were closer in Brexit.
Right, but the first time there was ever a Scottish independence referendum, it didn't wind up getting support. It wound up being, like several times later before it wound up almost passing.
Right.
It takes time, and it also takes the right circumstances to engage people to actually get over the hump.
Fears.
Yeah, the fears. The
right,
hump,
and one of the fears that got thrown at the Scots was, if you secede from the United Kingdom, then you can't use the pound.
What?
Well, there's going to be a lot of fear-mongering like that, but you're right as far as getting people into the right mindset, as far as the right circumstances surrounding this to persuade people to change, as was pointed out here, or is pointed out in an editorial piece we didn't get a chance to read here from the Sonoma News. They point out here that obviously there's the Trump thing. If Trump gets reelected in 2020, that's going to encourage a lot more Californians to think hard on the issue of secession. But further, as they point out here, Attorney General Xavier Becerra in California has filed 32 lawsuits trying to stave off major policy changes by Trump. And as they point out, if California loses these suits on up to the federal court level, these are various different...
Oh, these are all filed in federal court.
Yeah, but if they lose, on up to the Supreme Court or whatever,
right.
If the Supremes, back the Trump administration over California, that's going to give them even more incentive to say, it's clear that we want to govern our state differently than what the United States wants, and this is more evidence of why California needs to leave, is they just can't get along with the United States. And of course, some of those suits are probably going to be heard between now and 2020.
I will add one more thing. I will say it could this measure could inspire people to come out that just normally probably wouldn't care about politics because of how complicated it is. I do think maybe there is a large group of conservative voters that don't even bother going out because they think it's not like it's going to matter anyway. I'm going to lose. And maybe this could get those people out of the woodwork to go and vote, because then they might actually have a chance of getting a conservative elected, in an executive position.
Could very well be, and it'll be interesting to see how it plays out either way, and it will certainly get a conversation started, even if it doesn't end up succeeding this time around. Stefan, thanks for the call tonight. Appreciate it.
Stefan Quinn for governor.
Who? He hung up. Must be someone in Ohio. It's probably somebody in Ohio, because he was going to run for governor, but he didn't say his own name there, did he? I don't think he did.
It didn't sound like he said Stefan.
No, I didn't think so. So maybe he's backing whoever the Libertarian candidate is there.
They've not actually chosen their candidate yet.
Maybe he's backing a primary candidate or something.
They're not having a primary. They're actually selecting their nominee in convention next weekend.
And you're going, aren't you, to Ohio?
I'm going to Ohio. I will not be at their convention.
Why are you going to Ohio?
Libertarian Party National Platform Committee meeting is in Columbus.
You poor bastard.
I'm on the platform committee.
So you're going to be talking about ands and ors and semicolons and that kind of thing?
I sure as hell hope not.
Isn't that what the platform committee does, is make changes to the platform?
Right, but hopefully it's not arguing about commas and the word and we're actually having actual discussions about things of
It'll be over more
actual
stuff
interest.
like that, though. I'll guarantee you. I mean, I've been to enough Libertarian Party conventions to know what happens at these things.
Yeah.
All right. Speaking of Libertarian Party conventions, I do have video from the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire convention. If that's something that interests you, stay tuned to the Free Keen YouTube channel, because those videos will be coming out over the next few weeks. I'm not sure when the first one will be, maybe sometime this weekend. But if you're not subscribed to the Free Keen YouTube, you can do that any old time you want to. Meanwhile, we'll see you online between now and the next episode of Free Talk Live, which will be tomorrow night, because we do this thing 7 nights a week. So join us over at freetalklive.com. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Nestle Toll House Refrigerated Cookie Dough. Who would you bake some love for? Find fun and easy baking ideas at tollhouse.com. Kids love doing arts and crafts projects, especially when you join in. Try channeling all that artistic energy into the kitchen and bake up some creative treats together. Think of your art supplies as the frosting, sprinkles, and decorating gels, and use cookies or cupcakes as your canvas. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
The Torchwood Report is coming up next, live after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Friday, May 4th, 2018. Silver is trading at $16.47 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,314 per ounce. Zencash is trading at $40, and the average price of Bitcoin is $9,628. Antiwar.com reports the U.S. military is more deeply involved in the Saudi war in Yemen than officials ever admitted. In fact, new evidence suggests the Pentagon lied to Congress during the March debate about U.S. involvement, presenting the U.S. role at present being limited to targeting and mid-air refueling of Saudi warplanes. The New York Times is reporting there are actually a small number of U.S. special forces on the ground at the Saudi border with Yemen. Those troops have not only been on the ground since late 2017, but are there on a mission to help the Saudi military fight Yemen's Shiite Houthi movement. No public debate ever took place with respect to this deployment. Indeed, the Pentagon appears to have gone to great lengths not to tell the American public or Congress about the Green Berets they sent to the border. The Green Berets are intended to help the Saudis locate and destroy Houthi missiles and attack Houthi missile launch sites in